Cali kid, old school cap. Eddie got opinions and a live stream chat. Used to walk the halls with the burned CD stack. Now he hits go
What's
live
up,
and the room
everybody?
fades black. Comment wars flare in the scrolling bar. He's breaking down takes on who we are. Then a thought hit quick like a locker slam. What if I just play the songs that raised this man? Donnie, spin that track. Eddie's going back. 96 posters on his bedroom wall. All that teen angst in a one-car.
We're waiting for President Trump to come out. It's not gonna be done yet.
Now it's echoing through a comment hall. Donnie, spin that track. Still on the floor, laid back. From the marches to the throwback jams. Same voice, same hands, just a different plan. Camera light on, but the mood turns soft. He says, we'll argue later, I'm clocking out, boss. Pulls up a playlist from a dusty brain drawer. First drum hit, and he's 16 once more. Friday night dances, cheap cologne in the air. That one slow song, she twisted his hair. Now the chat types, yo, I remember this too. And the whole world shrinks to a gym in 02. Donnie, spin that track. Eddie's going back.
What'd you guys think about the
mixtape in his mom's old car. Big dreams.
What'd you guys think about our launch today?
Like the world wasn't.
Was it golden?
That's
not it.
From long threads about a broken state.
I wonder why it's not going out to Rumble, people. Whoops, I think it just popped up. I think I just saw something.
A better mic, still trying to say what's wrong, what's right. Some nights debate, some nights rewind. Either way, he's speaking his mind. Donnie, spin that track. Eddie's going back. Chat scrolling fast, but the room feels small.
Trying to get something to work here.
Ghost in a pixel.
There we go. There we go.
And the dog's first row.
We're waiting for the president to come out, so we're gonna check out a little news while we're waiting. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Do a little music, or I don't know. Check out some of the news that's going on right now, right about now. If there's anything good, probably not. Hold on, what did I do wrong there? Here we go. Just in, United Kingdom Prime Minister Keir Starmer realizes President Trump is serious, and he's announcing military planners are meeting to discuss securing of the Strait of Hormuz. Let's see.
The conflict in the Middle East has now entered a second month, and while we're working at pace for de-escalation and peace, it is now clear that the impact
his audio is low.
will affect the future of our country. So today I want to reassure the British people that no matter how fierce this storm, we are well placed to weather it, and that we have a long-term plan to emerge from it a stronger and more secure.
Wonder what that plan is. Don't expect us to help.
Let me say once again, this is not our war. We will not be drawn into the conflict. That is not in our national interest.
Well, next time you need something, just remember we're not going to come in. Your interest is not in our national interest either. All right, road rage in Los Angeles gets out of hand as a guy jumps out of his car and starts confronting people. They call 911, but instead of help, the dispatcher's more focused on the what the heck. Let's listen to this, because they always tell you not to do that.
What is he doing?
Right?
Just videotape it. Lock the door. Lock the door. Call the police. Videotape it. Videotape it. I'm videotaping it right now.
James, they're in LA. They're in California for sure.
Go get him.
LA City 911 operator 695.
I just got assaulted by a car, a 4Runner, who's now escaping.
Stop!
I have his license plate. It's EA1.
Okay.
He's making U-turns on Highland. He's got a broken window.
Sir, Sir,
Yes.
I need you to stop following him.
I can't.
He kicked our car in.
He just kicked my
Sir.
car in and everything. You're not gonna find
Sir,
him.
if you continue to follow him, you will
They're
be held liable
Burbank.
for any damages.
For what? Damage for what? He damaged my car. Are you gonna send police over?
We are sending police. Okay. But if you are involved in, if there's any accidents or any damages to anything else, you will be held liable for following.
What the heck?
So I
Okay.
suggest you stop following.
I'm gonna stop following. How's the police gonna find him?
Okay, can you
Do I have his license plate?
pull over?
Do I have his license plate?
have
I
his license
videotaped
plate,
him.
okay.
I don't know if it's on. I'm recording. I don't know if I got it. I recorded the car. I don't know. Wait,
pretty
there's
sure
a
they're
red
in
light.
Burbank.
So
He just
ran a red light.
Okay, what's the address?
He's at the 8000 in front of Paramount on Melrose. Paramount Studios.
Okay, what's that address? I don't know where that's at.
Melrose.
Normandy, Bronson, and Melrose. And he's going southbound to the
Bron-
freeway. Right on Melrose. He's got his blinkers on, his windows smashed.
Okay, are you still following? Yes or no?
I'm going slow. I'm going normal speed.
I want to get his license plate.
you're
I'm gonna get his
following-
license plate.
I'm driving on the same street, yes.
So you're following him?
I'm not
Okay,
following
what's
him.
that
I've got
vehicle?
traffic in front of me. I'm telling you what's going on. He just now turned on another street.
Now he turned on to
Western.
Western.
He's very far away from me. I'm driving speed limit and normal, but I can see him because there's nobody on the road.
Not anymore.
There he is. He just came back out of the street.
Where?
Right there. He couldn't get inside the street. He came back out.
Let me get his plate. I'm
He's
getting
at
the license plate.
Hollywood, Maplewood. I don't even know where we are.
I just want to get his license plate. That's it.
What kind of vehicle is he in?
It's a 4Runner.
It's like a light blue one. I don't think can they so if you're just follow them slowly like that and they crash into somebody else, can you really get blamed for that? Is that real? Okay, we're still nothing. We're live on the scene here, so there's still nothing coming yet. It's not supposed to come on until 6 o'clock, so it's gonna come on at 6 o'clock. You know, I hate to admit it, but this will be me. I'd be following them. And then you just hit my car. You ain't getting away with that stuff. That's what I would be doing, at least. And that's why I always probably get in trouble. But I don't know. I don't know about that. I wonder if he was just saying that to get them to stop following, or what the heck. I don't think they would get in trouble if this guy starts hitting other people. Why would they get in trouble or be charged with it? Dude, I just gave you a treat, Donnie. All right, Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi, or however, has stunned the globalists by calling on our nation to have more children rather than rely on mass migration. Also ripped foreign ministers who would come to Japan and destroy their rules and norms. She nailed it base. Let's see what she's saying here.
私は日本と日本人の底力
I stand with the firm
を
belief
信
in the
じて
potential
や
of
まない
Japan.
ものとして
Hold on.
日本
Let me turn the sound down. And the Japanese people say, well,
の未
I
来
don't
を
trust
切
these.
り開く責任を担いこの場に
I'm not gonna play this because if I can't trust it, then it's not worth playing. You know, I don't know who's translating this. You don't. All right, so a mass deportation coalition releases a playbook to deport all illegal aliens from the United States. Really? Oh, I like this idea. I like this idea a lot. I wonder what it says. Let's see. Is it going to show it? So it says, we will begin the largest deportation operation in the history of our country because we have no choice. President Trump, Republican National Convention, July 2024. Policies and operational strategies to deport all illegal aliens from the United States. Interesting. What is it? How can we look at this? Let's see. Releases a playbook. How do you find it? Mass Deportation Coalition. Let's see if we can open this link in any tab. Let's see what we can see going on here. How do you get the book? Oh, playbook. Is it all online? Open link in new tab. Let's see. March 30th, 2026. Introduction. Oh shit, it's an all entirely online book. National Coalition Playbook, Executive Summary. Well, it's a lot to go through. Okay, how about this? Let's go here then. We're going to take advantage of Grok. Control C. Let's go to Grok. Super Grok. Can you give me the highlights from this book? Let's see it. Let's see what they're doing. Searching the web, 10 results. I wonder how fast AI can read. So core principles, transition to phase 2, mass deportations, targeting those with, let's see, so what does it say? A group of immigration law policy experts, former law enforcement agents, officials, and advocates supports President Trump's campaign promise to get them all out. It argues that illegal immigration creates major fiscal burdens, hundreds of billions annually, strains public services, which it does, suppresses wages, it does for low-skilled American workers, fragments culture, and contributes to crime. The playbook calls for a shift from narrow, worst of the worst criminal enforcement to broad, systematic mass deportations using existing legal authorities under the immigration nationality law. It emphasizes a whole of government approach, including self-deportation incentives through economic and enforcement procedure. So they outline 5 key principles: transition to phase 2, mass deportations, targeting those with final orders, visa overstays, and work site violators. Prioritize worksite enforcement, employment as a main magnet for illegal immigration per historical references like Barbara Jordan. Use a whole of government strategy to encourage all self-deportations. Well, we've been doing that. Ensure data and transparency and clear metrics focused on ICE interior removals. Build operational capacity for screening additional, so we've been doing that. 21 recommendations. Worksite and employment focus. Dramatically enhance worksite enforcement. Announce large-scale operations, track investigations, arrests, prosecutions. Use IRS, SSA data and MOUs. Prosecute employers, that's a good one for sure. And integrate into removal pipelines. Move employment verification from I-9 fully online with DHS for better detection and denial benefits. Leverage the Department of Labor authorities. Coordinate task forces. Share the leads. Enforce labor laws against violators. Blah, blah, blah. Transfer no-match letters to the IRS for audits, back taxes, and ICE referrals. So in a financial and compliance pressure, you can debank illegal aliens, revise Treasury regulations to bar unlawfully present individuals from bank accounts and credit. I know you can't have a weed farm or a weed store and have a bank account, but illegal aliens can. Enforce civil fines, $998 a day for failure to depart with property liens. Expand civil asset forfeiture for immigration violations. Target visa overstays, noted as around 42% of illegal population pre-Biden era, and via entry-exit systems. Interesting. I don't know if 42% of them were visa overstays. That's a pretty high number. This number's way too high. Dramatically expand detention capacity. So basically, detention enforcement. Keep them in. Adjudication. Assign special assistant U.S. attorneys nationwide to prosecute them. Yeah, but if you just put a liberal in there, you're screwed. Broader support. Operational pipelines. This is interesting. Targets 1 million plus formal deportations in 2026. 4,000 daily apprehensions over 250 operational days. So court backlogs a challenge. Abscond rates 90%. Well, don't release them. Wow, that's pretty interesting. Very interesting. I'll have to leave that page up and go check it out. Dude, there must be a bear in the neighborhood or something, because Donnie and all the dogs in the neighborhood have been freaking going nutso today. I said nutso. Let's see what's going on here. Still just nothing. It's a nothing burger. We can take that down. Go back to here. So Cheryl Davis, San Francisco's former civil rights watchdog. just got arrested. She got arrested with 19 felony counts, $8.5 million steered to her live-in partner's nonprofit. But the bigger scandal is the nonprofit industrial complex built specifically to avoid oversight. Just insane. So this woman, she gave $8.5 million to her live-in partner's nonprofit. And you know how it says live-in partner? So that must mean lesbian girlfriend is what I'm guessing. Let's see. An oversight. Every dollar of fraud that is found is a dollar the state doesn't need. Yeah, I say we take all the money away from the state. Let's see what's going on here real quick. I've been trying new stuff today. Reverse course. Let me see. Is it a scammer? Oh, no, it's a real person. Okay. At least it looks to be a real person. I've been doing a lot of posting today, and I'm using X. I'm using Grok to make all my posts for me, basically. Trying to see if it works. Actually, let's look. What, Donnie? What is going on with you, bub? Creator Studio Premium Plus. Let's see what's all coming along here. Let's see what my analytics look like today. Nope. Wrong button again. So just for today. Oh, the new day already started. This is April 2nd. So we had only 4,600. Interesting. Okay, we'll check on it tomorrow. We'll see how much better it gets. While we're waiting on President Trump to come out. Now this says, holy crap, President Trump is seriously considering withdrawing the U.S. from NATO. I would like that, right? However, I think he's just messing with them.
Comments to London's Daily Telegraph newspaper that he is, quote, seriously considering pulling the U.S. out of NATO. That obviously would be a historic decision. The UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer responding today defiantly, saying once again, as he said before, this is not our war, and we, the UK, will not be dragged into it. The future of the NATO alliance seems very much up in the air today. Back to you guys. Comments to London's Daily Telegraph newspaper that he is, quote,
really care about him. I mean,
oh no, the UK is not going to help us.
The UK is not going to help us. Oh no, they're a little tiny country. We're America, right? All right, so President Trump plans to attend oral arguments for his administration's birthright citizenship case at the Supreme Court, which we live streamed earlier.
First sitting president to attend oral arguments at the nation's highest court. Trump signed the birthright citizenship executive order on the first day of his second term,
I didn't hear him
part
say
of his
anything,
administration's broad immigration crackdown. The order declares that children born to parents who are in the US illegally or temporarily are not American citizens, an about-face from the long-standing view that the US Constitution's 14th Amendment and federal law since 1940 confer citizenship to everyone born on American soil, with narrow exceptions.
It is the craziest thing I've ever seen. It's been so badly handled by legal people over the years.
The executive order has not taken effect anywhere in the country after being blocked by several courts. Justices on Wednesday will hear Trump's appeal of a lower court ruling which struck down the executive order.
This is from this morning, if you can't tell. And from the way listening to it, it doesn't sound like it's going so well for us in getting that to go and allow President Trump to do that. All right, Pentagon just locked in a 7-year deal with Boeing and Lockheed Martin to triple production of PAC-3 MSE missile seekers. The key guidance piece helps the Patriot system hunt down incoming ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, and drones with deadly accuracy. The move builds on an earlier framework to ramp up the PAC-3 MSE interceptors from 600 to 2,000 per year. 1 month into the Iran war, U.S. forces have already burned through hundreds of these expensive interceptors, defending bases and allies. And some estimates put Patriot usage at over 400 in the first couple of weeks alone. Hold on. Come here, Donnie. Come here. Let me help you. Okay, go on. Now you can go. Stockpiles were never huge to begin with, and the pace of the Iranian missile drone attacks turned this into a real magazine depth wake-up call. I mean, we need to be on top, right? When it comes to war, you know, we got to be number one. Make sure, because everybody hates us, so they want to attack us. Oh, because they believe differently, right? But then I guess I can feel their pain because, you know, the liberals are taking over the United States, and that's what's making everybody hate everybody. All right, so get this. This is a young Irish teacher, Enoch Burke, has now spent over 600 days in prison for refusing to use gender-bending ideology for pupils in his class. That's a guy? I think it meant her class. Or no, keep saying his. His mother and sister visited him in jail today. As they left, Gardaí was waiting for... Oh, this must be the sister and mother. Let's see.
Thanks to John McDowell. Those primates of Ireland. Even Martin, John McDowell mentioned Castlereagh Prison where you go. You're put into prison if you stand up for prison truth. My son is in here in a prison cell, locked in with criminals, because he won't use the they pronoun. That's why my son is in here today. He won't call a young boy they. So you go to prison if you stand up for Christian truth. And it's a shame for the churches. Shame upon you, Eamon Martin. Shame upon you, Gangster John McDowell. Those primates of Ireland don't listen to a word they say. Because you're put into prison if you stand up for Christian truth. I say speak about Ukraine and the Middle East. Eamon Martin, talk about Castlereagh Prison. Eamon Martin, John McDowell.
So they're going to get arrested now too?
Castlereagh Prison where you go, or Docus. If you stand.
Be careful.
I'm surprised they're allowing them to film them be arrested.
Okay.
That's not up to us to decide.
He's telling lies that my son is not in prison for not accepting transgender ideology. The whole country knows he is. He said he would not use the they pronoun.
This is Judge Brian Cregan. He has told
many lies. Instructing us to bring him to.
He's told many lies about Enoch Burke and indeed about ourselves.
And they use the Equal Status Act.
Yes, he's
the Equal Status Act.
At the very start.
4 years ago, to put Enoch Burke behind bars. The Equal Status Act has nothing whatsoever to do with transgender.
That was Judge Eileen Roberts, and she would have known that. She relied on the Equal Status Act to say that the school were within their rights. The Equal Status Act says nothing about transgenderism. So she knew she was misleading. She was telling lies.
That's not the zoo.
Sounds like judges around here.
The courts, the judges have lied about why.
Do you, as the guard, the Síochána of this country, do you care that you're taking two people? We are in Castlebar this morning teaching young people that have exams coming up. That's where we want to be. My son would like to be in the front of his class as well. Do you care? Would you open your mouth about that if the court is wrong?
By the court order. Have a high court order.
Well, you're all human beings. Do you just do what you're told?
But we can't change that. We have a high court order directing us to bring you to Mount Rushmore.
But do you care?
What I care about doesn't make a difference.
We care about their paycheck. What they care about, right?
We have a high court order to bring you to the Mount.
Yeah, and you're back in Westport today. A lot of you talking to Jim Callahan. And talking
we
about
weren't in
us.
Westport today, we're in Castlereagh.
Yeah, but you're looking for, you know, the this and that and the other.
Okay, there's going to be no argument. You're under arrest in relation to this order.
We have two orders here.
You're making us now take over.
Wait a minute, is that a little a flask? Does she got a flask? Is she drinking on the job?
In a prison. In a prison. The prison authorities are going to pay for us in prison.
That's the order we have.
Enoch Burke has constitutional rights. He has the right to the freedom of profession and practice of his religious belief.
It's not to do with us here today.
The courts have lied about why Enoch was disciplined in the first place.
I know it's Ireland, but I can't believe, like, no way it's going to be a flask.
Do you care though? Do you care?
But these orders to bring both of you.
How about all of you?
If
it was my job. It was my job. I'd care.
Move over to the van,
Can you please stop recording?
You give an account to God for your doings.
Move over to the van, please.
No, this can't
Give
go.
an account to God for your doings.
Can you come over to the van, please?
We want to be in Castlebar with our young people who have exams coming up.
We have orders to
That's
bring
where we want to be.
You're under arrest on foot of a High Court order. I'm now going to handcuff you.
From Judge Cregan, who's telling lies.
Do we need to put handcuffs? Because I'd rather not.
Enoch Burke has been in prison for over 600 days.
I'm not going to have you handcuffed.
Denied his constitutional rights.
We're executing a
We
high
just have
court
to
order.
execute the orders, okay?
You don't have to execute orders or they're corrupt.
I've been directed by a high court judge. So.
Do you want to tell me what's happening here today?
Sorry.
Well, we were just visiting Enoch Burke here in prison, in Castlereagh Prison. Enoch has been in prison for over 600 days. Martina and I were just visiting.
You notice what those cops don't have on them?
And we have now, we've Gardaí who are seeking to arrest us to bring us to
Absolutely ridiculous.
To Docus prison.
My son is in here in a prison cell, locked in with criminals, because he won't use the they pronoun. That's why my son is in here today. He won't call a young boy they. He won't encourage a young boy to go along the path of puberty blockers.
Yes, surgeries, mutilation of their body parts.
That's why he's in there.
Enoch is saying no to this, and as a result of this, Enoch is in prison behind this.
Insanity. This is insanity.
It is insanity.
So this is what happens in this country.
So you go to prison if you stand up for Christian truths, and it's a shame for the churches. Shame upon you, Eamon Martin. Shame upon you, gangster John McDowell. Those primates of Ireland don't listen to a word they say, because you're put into prison if you stand up for Christian truth. Don't listen to them. As they speak about Ukraine and the Middle East. Eamon Martin, talk about Castlereagh Prison. Eamon Martin, John McDowell, mention Castlereagh Prison where you go, or Docus.
Why are you going nuts though, Donnie?
Be careful.
Can you imagine that? So you're being arrested, or your son is arrested because he won't use they them pronouns as a teacher, and so now you're just talking about how they arrested your son and has had him in jail for 4 years because he won't use they them pronouns, and now you're getting arrested for talking about it. This is Ireland, folks. I mean, you don't think of Ireland like it's that bad. But it's really happening out there. It's just insane. Right? And even though as bad as the United States is getting, it's still better than the alternative. I mean, like, I'm never going to want to leave the United States. My dad served this country. But still, even if I wanted to, for reasons like that, it's like that everywhere. It's a scary thought. It's a very scary thought. All right, Iran arrested 46 people and seized 139 Starlink terminals this week in their latest sweep in the nationwide hunt for satellite internet access during its 32-day blackout. I wonder how they find it. Maybe just go around looking for Wi-Fi? Using Starlink in Iran can result in capital punishment. There are an estimated 50,000 terminals in the country. The terminals has been used to transmit footage of airstrikes and evidence of government crackdowns to the outside world. That's why they're being hunted. And didn't Elon Musk gave a whole bunch of them to him, right? He just sent a whole bunch over there. Dude, could you imagine you're trying to help out by sending, internet over there and you're getting people killed instead? All right, it's almost 6 o'clock, so he should be coming out and talking soon, hopefully. So Trump endorsed Brian Donald's just hauled in an all-time record $22.2 million in Q1 fundraising. Ooh, excuse me, whoa. The most ever for a non-incumbent Florida governor candidate during that time period. Donald's total is now a whopping 67. Who would think that you need $67 million in donations to win a governor seat?
Mr. President, it's good to be with you back in Mar-a-Lago. Because when you looked at the Democrats, they were like over there. So not you, my people. You looked over there. You just you've been doing a great job. The second time around, you're the best.
You know, the fact that he's leading by 47 points.
That's a lot of money, though. Why do you need that much money to win the governorship? To win the governor's race? I just don't get that. Let's hear what President Trump is saying on Iran.
That goal has been attained. They will not have nuclear weapons, but we're finishing the job, and I think within maybe 2 weeks, maybe a couple of days longer to do the job. But we want to knock out every single thing they have. I had one goal.
Let's hope. Let's hope. I'd like to get diesel prices back down. Holy jeez. What? Okay, let's go back to let's go to Gas Buddy. Because I paid the other day. I paid over $7. I paid $6 something here. And when I left for when I went to at Costco. Let's see. Oh, he's coming out now. Okay, good.
Thank you very much. My fellow Americans, good evening. Let me begin by congratulating the team at NASA and our brave astronauts on the successful launch of Artemis 2. It was quite something. It will be traveling further than any manned rocket has ever flown and will very substantially pass the moon, go around it, and come back home from a distance that has never been done before. It's amazing.
Chinese.
They are on the way, and God bless them. These are brave people. We want to God bless those 4 unbelievable astronauts. As we speak this evening, it's been just 1 month since the United States military began Operation Epic Fury, targeting the world's #1 state sponsor of terror, Iran. In these past 4 weeks, our armed forces have delivered swift, decisive, overwhelming victories on the battlefield. Victories like few people have ever seen before. Tonight, Iran's Navy is gone. Their Air Force is in ruins. Their leaders, most of them terrorist regime they led, are now dead. Their command and control of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps is being decimated as we speak. Their ability to launch missiles and drones is dramatically curtailed, and their weapons, factories, and rocket launchers are being blown to pieces. Very few of them left. Never in the history of warfare has an enemy suffered such clear and devastating large-scale losses in a matter of weeks. Our enemies are losing in America, as it has been for 5 years under my presidency, is winning, and now winning bigger than ever before. Before discussing this current situation, I also want to thank our troops for the masterful job they did in taking the country of Venezuela in a matter of minutes. That hit was quick, lethal, violent, and respected by everyone all over the world. After rebuilding our military during my first term, we have by far the strongest military anywhere in the world. And now we're working along with Venezuela and are, in a true sense, joint venture partners. We're getting along incredibly well in the production and sale of massive amounts of oil and gas, the second largest reserves on Earth after the United States of America. We're now totally independent of the Middle East, and yet we are there to help. We don't have to be there. We don't need their oil. We don't need anything they have, but we're there to help our allies. Tonight, I want to provide an update on the tremendous progress our warriors have made in Iran and discuss why Operation Epic Fury is necessary for the safety of America and the security of the free world. From the very first day I announced my campaign for president in 2015, I have vowed that I would never allow Iran to have a nuclear weapon. This fanatical regime has been chanting death to America, death to Israel for 47 years. Their proxies were behind the murder of 241 Americans in the Marine barracks bombing in Beirut, the slaughter of hundreds of our service members with roadside bombs. They were involved in the attack on the USS Cole, and they carried out the countless other heinous acts, including the just horrible, bloody atrocities of October 7th in Israel, something that most people have never seen anything like it. This murderous regime also recently killed 45,000 of their own people who were protesting in Iran. 45,000 dead. For these terrorists to have nuclear weapons would be an intolerable threat. The most violent and thuggish regime on earth would be free to carry out their campaigns of terror, coercion, conquest, and mass murder from behind a nuclear shield. I will never let that happen, and neither should any of our past presidents. This situation has been going on for 47 years and should have been handled long before I arrived in office. I did many things during my 2 terms in office to stop the quest for nuclear weapons by Iran first, and perhaps most importantly, I killed General Qasem Soleimani in my first term. He was an evil genius, brilliant person, a horrible human being, however, the father of the roadside bomb, and he lived just horrible what he did. Iran would have been perhaps in far better, stronger position. Had he lived, we would have had probably a different conversation tonight. But you know what? We'd still be winning and winning big. And then very importantly, I terminated Barack Hussein Obama's Iran nuclear deal, a disaster. Obama gave them $1.7 billion in cash.
It still is,
green cash. Took it out of banks from Virginia, D.C., and Maryland, all the cash they had. He flew it by airplanes in an attempt to buy their respect and loyalty, but it didn't work. They laughed at our president and went on with their mission to have a nuclear bomb. His Iran deal would have led to a colossal arsenal of massive nuclear weapons for Iran, and they would have had them years ago, and they would have used them. It would have been a different world. There would have been no Middle East and no Israel right now, in my opinion, the opinion of a lot of great experts, had I not terminated that terrible deal. And I was so honored to do it. I was so proud to do it. It was so bad right from the beginning. Essentially, I did what no other president was willing to do. They made mistakes, and I am correcting them. My first preference was always the path of diplomacy, yet the regime continued their relentless quest for nuclear weapons and rejected every attempt at an agreement. For this reason, in June, I ordered a strike on Iran's key nuclear facilities in Operation Midnight Hammer. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. Those beautiful B-2 bombers performed magnificently. We totally obliterated those nuclear sites. The regime then sought to rebuild their nuclear program at a totally different location, making clear they had no intention of abandoning their pursuit of nuclear weapons. They were also rapidly building a vast stockpile of conventional ballistic missiles and would soon have had missiles that could reach the American homeland, Europe, and virtually any other place on Earth.
Thank you for following us.
Iran's strategy was so obvious. They wanted to produce as many missiles as possible, and they did, with the longest range possible, and they had some weapons that nobody believed they had. We just learned that out. We took them out. We took them all out so that no one would really dare stop them. And their race for a nuclear bomb, a nuclear weapon like nobody's ever seen before. They were right at the doorstep. For years, everyone has said that Iran cannot have nuclear weapons, but in the end, those are just words if you're not willing to take action when the time comes. As I stated in my announcement of Operation Epic Fury, our objectives are very simple and clear. We are systematically dismantling the regime's ability to threaten America or project power outside of their borders. That means eliminating Iran's Navy, which is now absolutely destroyed, hurting their Air Force and their missile program at levels never seen before, and annihilating their defense industrial base. We've done all of it. Their Navy is gone. Their Air Force is gone. Their missiles are just about used up or beaten. Taken together, these actions will cripple Iran military, crush their ability to support terrorist proxies, and deny them the ability to build a nuclear bomb. Our armed forces have been extraordinary. There's never been anything like it militarily. Everyone is talking about it, and tonight I'm pleased to say that these core strategic objectives are nearing completion. As we celebrate this progress, we think especially of the 13 American warriors who have laid down their lives in this fight to prevent our children from ever having to face a nuclear Iran. Twice this past month, I've traveled to Dover Air Force Base, and it's been something. I wanted to be with those heroes as they return to American soil, and I was with them and their families, their parents, their wives, their husbands. We salute them, and now we must honor them by completing the mission for which they gave their lives. And every single one of the people, their loved ones said, "Please, sir, please finish the job," every one of them. And we are going to finish the job, and we're going to finish it very fast. We're getting very close. I want to thank our allies in the Middle East, Israel, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, the UAE, Kuwait, and Bahrain. They've been great, and we will not let them get hurt or fail in any way, shape, or form. Many Americans have been concerned to see the recent rise in gasoline prices here at home.
No doubt here in California.
The short-term increase has been entirely the result of the Iranian regime launching deranged terror attacks against commercial oil tankers in neighboring countries that have nothing to do with the conflict. This is yet more proof that Iran can never be trusted with nuclear weapons. They will use them, and they will use them quickly. It would lead to decades of extortion, economic pain, and instability worse than we can ever imagine. The United States has never been better prepared economically to confront this threat. You all know that. We built the strongest economy in history.
And the Democrats are throwing it away.
The strongest in history. In 1 year, we've taken a dead and crippled country. I hate to say that, but we were a dead and crippled country after the last administration,
when you're
and
no
made
longer in
it the
office?
hottest country anywhere in the world by far, with no inflation, record-setting investments coming into the United States, over $18 trillion, and the highest stock market ever, with 53 all-time record highs in just 1 year. It all positioned us to get rid of a cancer that has long simmered. It's known as the nuclear Iran, and they didn't know what was coming. They've never imagined it. Remember, because of our Drill Baby Drill program, America has plenty of gas. We have so much gas. Under my leadership, we are #1 producer of oil and gas on the planet, without even discussing the millions of barrels that we're getting from Venezuela. Because of the Trump administration's policies, we produce more oil and gas than Saudi Arabia and Russia combined. Think of that, Saudi Arabia and Russia combined.
Yeah, but the Democrats
and that number will soon be substantially higher than that. There's no country like us anywhere in the world, and we're in great shape for the future. The United States imports almost no oil through the Hormuz Strait, and won't be taking any in the future. We don't need it. We haven't needed it, and we don't need it. We've beaten and completely decimated Iran. They are decimated, both militarily and economically and in every other way. And the countries of the world that do receive oil through the Hormuz Strait must take care of that passage. They must cherish it. They must grab it and cherish it. They can do it easily. We will be helpful, but they should take the lead in protecting the oil that they so desperately depend on. So to those countries that can't get fuel, many of which refuse to get involved in the decapitation of Iran, we had to do it ourselves. I have a suggestion. #1, buy oil from the United States of America. We have plenty. We have so much. And #2, build up some delayed courage. Should have done it before. Should have done it with us, as we asked. Go to the Strait and just take it, protect it, use it for yourselves. Iran has been essentially...
I'm going to pause over there. You know, oh, we're going to take it, right? Just like we took over the Panama Canal, and then what will we do? Our dumbass country gives it back to them. We should take that, or gives it to them for what? What was it, $1 or something? F that. We need to keep this stuff. You know, all these countries are going to, you know, yeah, we're in war right now and everything's skyrocketing. But once it gets back to normal, you know, everybody's going to be benefiting off of what we did. But nobody's going to be helping the Americans out, right? And you got these stupid liberals that are just throwing our money away, giving it to all these illegals, giving it to all these fake fraudsters. It's just insane. Sorry,
the hard part is done, so it should be easy. And in any event, when this conflict is over, the strait will open up naturally. It'll just open up naturally. They're going to want to be able to sell oil because that's all they have to try and rebuild. It will resume the flowing, and the gas prices will rapidly come back down. Stock prices will rapidly go back up. They haven't come down very much, frankly. They came down a little bit, but they've had some very good days over the last couple of days. We've done actually much better than I thought, but we had to take that little journey to Iran to get rid of this horrible threat. With our historic tax cuts, where people are just now talking about receiving larger refunds than they ever thought possible, they are getting so much more money than they thought. That's from the great, big, beautiful bill. Our economy is strong and improving by the day, and it will soon be roaring back like never before. It will top the levels that it was a month ago. I've made clear from the beginning of Operation Epic Fury that we will continue until our objectives are fully achieved. Thanks to the progress we've made, I can say tonight that we are on track to complete all of America's military objectives shortly, very shortly. We're going to hit them extremely hard over the next 2 to 3 weeks. We're going to bring them back to the Stone Ages where they belong. In the meantime, discussions are ongoing. Regime change was not our goal. We never said regime change, but regime change has occurred because of all of their original leaders' death. They're all dead. The new group is less radical and much more reasonable. Yet if during this period of time no deal is made, we have our eyes on key targets. If there is no deal, we are going to hit each and every one of their electric generating plants very hard and probably simultaneously. We have not hit their oil, even though that's the easiest target of all, because it would not give them even a small chance of survival or rebuilding. But we could hit it, and it would be gone, and there's not a thing they could do about it. They have no anti-aircraft equipment. Their radar is 100% annihilated. We are unstoppable as a military force.
Can you prove that to us?
The nuclear sites that we obliterated with the B-2 bombers have been hit so hard that it would take months to get near the nuclear dust, and we have it under intense satellite surveillance and control. If we see them make a move, even a move for it, we'll hit them with missiles very hard again. We have all the cards, they have none. It's very important that we keep this conflict in perspective. American involvement in World War I lasted 1 year, 7 months, and 5 days. World War II lasted for 3 years, 8 months, and 25 days. The Korean War lasted for 3 years, 1 month, and 2 days. The Vietnam War lasted for 19 years, 5 months, and 29 days. Iraq went on for 8 years, 8 months, and 28 days. We are in this military operation, so powerful, so brilliant, against one of the most powerful countries for 32 days. And the country has been eviscerated and essentially is really no longer a threat. They were the bully of the Middle East, but they're the bully no longer. This is a true investment in your children and your grandchildren's future. The whole world is watching, and they can't leave the power, strength, and brilliance. They just can't believe what they're seeing. They leave it to your imagination, but they can't believe what they're seeing, the brilliance of the United States military. Tonight, every American can look forward to a day when we are finally free from the wickedness of Iranian aggression and the specter of nuclear blackmail. Because of the actions we have taken, we are on the cusp of ending Iran's sinister threat to America and the world. And I'll tell you, the world is watching. And when we do, when it's all over, the United States will be safer, stronger, more prosperous, and greater than it has ever been before. May God bless the men and women of the United States Armed Forces, and may God bless the United States of America. Thank you very much, and good night.
That was quick. What do you guys think of his speech? No questions, huh? He's still standing there. All that for very little. We need to appeal the 16th Amendment. Okay, so just so I get everything straight, I like to be, 16th Amendment. I like to be the person that shows exactly what we're talking about here. 16th Amendment. So ratified in February 3rd, 1913, the 16th Amendment to the United States Constitution empowers Congress to levy a federal income tax on individuals and corporations without apportioning it among states or basing it on census results. It overruled the 1895 Pollock versus Farmers Loan and Trust Company Supreme Court decision, allowing for a permanent progressive income tax system that replaced tariffs as the government's primary revenue source. The purpose of the amendment was passed during the Progressive era to address income inequality and provide a stable revenue source for all federal government, largely supported by Western and Southern states. But the tariffs were doing a great job. Your reef tank is going well? Good. The text, the Congress shall have power to lay and collect taxes on incomes from whatever source derived without apportionment among the several states and without regard to any consensus or enumeration. The Pollock decision prior to this, in 1895, the Supreme Court ruled in Pollock versus Farmers Loan and Trust Company that income taxes were direct taxes and therefore needed to be apportioned by state population, making them practically impossible to implement. So the ratification impact passed by Congress in 1909 and ratified in 1913, it led directly to the Revenue Act of 1913, which established a 1 to 7% tax on incomes above $30,000. 1 to 7%. Yeah, what are our taxes at now? And the 16th Amendment remains the foundation of the modern IRS system, which individual income taxes currently making up over 50% of federal government's total income. Over 50%. That's insane. There's got to be a bear out there because Donnie is going nuts and so is the other dogs in the neighborhood. I think there's a bear in my neighborhood again. Can you guys hear him? I don't know if you can hear him over the other microphone. Just insane. Just insane. Glad your reef tank's doing good, Gavin. I'm glad. That's good, bud. I am trying to figure out if I have room anymore now because I'm moving in this machine pretty soon. A workout machine for me to see if I can lose some weight. Gotta lose the fatness. Again, I think it's okay to tax corporations, just not the workers, huh? So, taxes, here's the problem with that. Businesses, they say, okay, I want, this pill wrap, this, for my dog. I got to give him his medicine every morning and every night. They want to make $5 a jug, okay? So if I am the president of the United States and I say, okay, in Congress and all that, we vote to charge 10 plus more percent on companies, right? All that company's going to do is just add that 10% to how much this thing costs. And then so the consumer is going to be paying for it. But then when you talk about it that way, now you got to start thinking about this. We start thinking, well, okay, so it's still a tax, right? But it's going to be a luxury tax. Okay, we're looking at a luxury tax now, and the reason I say we're looking at a luxury tax now is because you only have to pay that extra tax money if you buy the product. Do I think it's okay to tax Facebook? Fuck yeah. I mean, we don't pay anything for Facebook, right? We got to watch an ad here and there, or but we don't really pay for Facebook. I don't see a problem with taxing Facebook. But I'm just saying is when you tax a business, they're going to push it onto us. So we're still, when you think about it, we are still paying the taxes. Yeah, Gavin, he was like, I don't know if I want to do a reef tank. You know, we're talking because I got my what is mine, Gavin? Mine's 4 foot. It's 4 foot long, but it's not 90 gallons because my 90-gallon tank was bigger. So my new one that my stepdad's given me is 18 inches tall instead of 2 feet tall. So I believe it's a 60-gallon bow front tank is what I'm going to be getting into if I do put it in here somehow. I'm not sure. Galvin, so this is XD's very first time on the show. He just followed us today. He just showed up for this. And now he's following us. By the way, hey, Gavin, check this out. I got a new feature. I finally become a capitalist, and I want to start making money off of all this money that I spent on this show. And like I said, you know, it's a tax for only people that want to pay it. You know, I'm not going to be begging for money, but you know how some people will put in chats and I won't read it because I don't want to read it? Well, I have this new thing now through Streamlabs. And check this out. So now I can, if you want to put up something that I don't want to read, you know, because I do that. Now you can force it to be read. So I got this new thing now where if you click on it, so it's a Streamlabs / Eddie Block Film / tips or something like that. And so what happens is when you do that, if you donate $20 or more, then you get to go and it's automatically read by text to speech. Watch this. This is a sample. This is, it'll say this. It'll say thanks right there.
This is a test donation for $41.
That's weird. How come that other part's not showing up? It should. The whole thing should show up. Let me try it again. I don't know why the whole thing didn't show up. Normally it's supposed to read and show it. Oh, that's why.
This is a test donation for $6.
It's right there. Okay, it's there. It's there. But yeah, so, and also if we're playing music, because you know we play music, if you don't like the song, you can you do it too. You have to get the AI, some AI voices. It's got the one. I don't know if I have to get, if I should get another one or not. Oh shit, what's up? AC just raided the house. Angry conservative. My good old buddy. Thank you, AC, for raiding the stream like you always do. I appreciate it. That TDS is a good idea. You like it? Thanks. You know, for those of you that don't know, I'm never good at asking for money and stuff. You know, I hate that. But I started thinking, you know, I do this show all the time, and I do it for me. I enjoy it. But at the same time, you know, I should be getting paid back for what I spent. I think Donnie's stuck. It sounds like Donnie might be stuck. So what's up, AC Conservative? Welcome to the show, everybody from AC's show. And hold on, I'm going to let me do an X real quick because I think I got to go check on Donnie. He's barking like crazy out there. I don't know what the hell's going on with him, but he's being a brat. And thank you all who can chat too, because it is a new month and we need to get our unique chatters in and viewers in and likes in and stuff like that. So I have to get some new metrics. In fact, that's what I was just talking about, AC. Thank you. Ooh, Cyrene is in the house. What's up, Cyrene? Mama Lynn is in the house. Cyrene Pickle. Am I saying that right? I always wonder, is Cyrene Pickle right? I hope so. I hope I'm getting it all right. So what do I normally talk about? Normally, I talk about anything politics. We watch documentaries in here. But normally what I do is, you know, at 5 o'clock California time, I come on and I'll just go through. I have a whole bunch of X posts that I go through that I've saved over the day, you know. So here's what I do. I put my X posts on here and I just go through them. I click on them. I open them up and then we talk about it. And I give you my opinion on it, and then we can talk about it, discuss it, argue about it, whatever you want. That's what I do. That's what I do. So Iran is mobilizing volunteers for a potential U.S. ground war, which I don't like the idea of a ground war. I don't think we should be in a ground war. Why have a ground war when we have such a strong Air Force, such a strong Navy? You know, everything can be done remotely. Why send people in there to get killed? That's something I definitely don't agree on, and I hope you don't agree on either. So they're saying mass text, state TV, and online portal claiming 5 million signups. The IRGC is accepting recruits as young as 12 for patrols. This is disgusting. 12-year-old for patrols, checkpoints, and support roles. Earlier this month, 11-year-old Alireza Jafari was killed at a Bazij checkpoint in Tehran. His father had brought him because it was understaffed. Human Rights Watch was called the recruitment drive a war crime. Iran's own recruitment poster features 2 children. The regime is not hiding at all what it's doing. Just insane. Wow. 11 and 12 years old. Holy freaking shit. You think the ground war is a trap, huh? Interesting. You like helping out when Eddie... Yeah, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I really got to find a video because Donnie's barking out there like crazy. I had to go check on him. Last year, we had a bear go right through my meadow. And Donnie started chasing it down. Okay, here we go. 56 minutes. Not long enough. Okay, so Iran's IRGC just fired off a wave of 89. Off wave 89. So the 89th day. Or the 89th wave, I should say, at Israel. Over 100 heavy missiles, swarms of offensive drones, and 200 rockets slammed into Eilat, Tel Aviv, and Rebrak. I don't know how to say that. Victory in the next couple of weeks, not so sure. Is what this poster said. It does sound desperate. You know, I don't have a problem with that next. Well, you know what? Yeah, I do. We'll talk about that next. I don't know what any of this says. Okay, so you're saying President Trump will ask people, tell people, hey, you can become an American citizen if you join the military and fight for us. You know, I like it when the way it sounds, but then think about it. We're going to be getting people that we don't want, right? What if people are just, you know, they pretend to join the military and come in for us, but they're actually spies? We don't know if they're going to be spies, right? Kevin says we don't need boots on the ground over there. Let Israel go that route if they want, right? I don't like the boots on the ground whatsoever. Hold on. Let me see if this is a long enough video. I can go check on Donnie real quick. 2 minutes. Okay. Former CIA Larry Johnson believes the U.S. is preparing for deployment of ground troops in Iran. U.S. deploys new F-16s from Germany to Israel and Jordan. The reason is close air support for ground troops. I'm going to play this real quick, and I'll be right back. I got to check on my little buddy out there. Be right back.
He hasn't made the final decision yet, Larry. I think that he is hoping that there is some sort of deal that emerges out of this with Iran. Do you see that as a potential possibility?
No, none at all. In fact, what he's done today, and this is open source, I'm not revealing any classified information. They are deploying F-16s. New F-16s are being ferried out of Germany into Israel and or Jordan. They're not flying across France or Spain because they've said they don't want any U.S. aircraft to fly that way. A-10s have now departed the United States. A-10s are en route. There is only one reason for those. That is close air support for ground troops. It has no other mission. Apaches have also been loaded up.
Hold on. They've used A-10s in the Straits, Larry. They've flown the A-10s at low altitude in the Straits to kind of shoot at Iranian fast boats. So I think there's a world in which the A-10s get used in theater for a different reason.
But that's the point. They're not. He's not backing off.
Okay, I'll be right back.
He's ramping up. This is ramping up, and so look. The reality is, Iran has destroyed 13 multi-million-billion-dollar radars, 13 of them. That's why that AWACS was in the theater the other day, because the AWACS was making up for those 13 radars. You know, 2 or 3 of those radars went for over $1 billion apiece, and another 3 or 4 were in excess of $500 million. We burned right through those. The fact of the matter is we have now depleted our Patriot missile batteries and the THAADs. They are depleted. And so we no longer have what is supposed to be our main defense against Iranian ballistic missiles. So this war is not going as Donald Trump and the Department of War are claiming. They are lying to the American people about what's happening.
All right, we're back. Oh, man. You know what? He's a very smart dog, but he does the dumbest things. I don't understand it. Oh, man. Sorry about that. I got my pressure washer all the way against the fence so his rope won't get tangled in it. And I don't know how, but every single day, he still gets tangled in it. Whew. When there's 0 homeless vets and all of them are fully cared for, then maybe I'll think about it's okay to help others in war times. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Sorry, I'm out of breath. We got to stop, you know, I always use this analogy. I don't even know where I got it from anymore. I heard it from a comedian or somebody like that a long time ago. And they say, is what happens when you get on an airplane? What do they tell you? When the masks come down, put yours on first because you can't help others if you're dead. So you need to put yours on first and then help your kids. And that, you know, but we don't do that. That's not what the United States does. You're going to have to send me a donation link. What are you going to charge me? Of course, the CIA is against this operation. Iran is helpful to their money laundering. You know, maybe, Cyrene. I don't know. Who the hell knows what's going on anymore? The government's so crooked nowadays, you can't believe half the shit they tell us, if any of it. All right, so the CIA deputy director, speaking of the CIA, suspected Israel stole U.S. weapons-grade uranium from Numek, run by Dr. Shapiro, who had close ties to the Israeli government. It must be assumed for the purpose of U.S. national security that diversion of special nuclear materials to Israel by Dr. Shapiro is a distinct possibility. From the memo, CIA Director, Deputy Director Carl Duckett sent the CIA Director George Herschel Walker Bush. Duckett later concluded in 1991 that the clear consensus in the CIA was that indeed Numek material had been diverted and had been used by the Israelis in the fabricating of weapons. Man, we got bad. You guys have bad mosquitoes now yet already? Let's see what this says right here. Clearance says, of course it's the CIA. Oh, that was 2 minutes ago. Got to pay for your fish and coral somehow. This is how I function. Me first, then family, clan, the community, and if ever... Man, you must be back... Clan. They say that back east. That'd be country, then state, then area, then nation, and then the world. So on the basis of the foregoing, it must be assured for the purpose of United States national security that diversion of special nuclear materials by Israel by Dr. Shapiro and his associates is a distinct possibility. And this says... from the Gerald Ford Library. I don't know if you can get dates off of this stuff. I don't see it. I don't see the dates. Southern West Virginia is still too cold. Right on. Last time out, did I go? When I went to DC, did I go through West Virginia? I think I did. I know I went through Virginia. I don't know if, I know I went through Virginia, then I left Virginia, then I went back to Virginia. Well, here, let's look. Let's look. Because I left Columbus when I had to go testify. Columbus to DC. Drive. Did I go through West Virginia? Do you guys remember when you guys were watching me drive? Did I go through West Virginia? Through Wheeling and Pennsylvania. From Columbus through Wheeling and Pennsylvania. Frederick, Maryland. I don't remember which. I went through one Virginia. Let me see. Will it show me? So I went to Pennsylvania, Maryland. I remember going through a Virginia. Well, I guess I go through West Virginia right there. So I went through West Virginia and a very little bit of Virginia. Maybe that's what I did. Wheeling's West Virginia. But that was in 2022 when I had to go testify in DC. If you left Columbus, then you did go through West Virginia. Wheeling is okay. Mosquitoes are bad up here too, up in Sacramento, are they? The problem is I have a creek on my property, and right now it's not flowing, but there's water in it. So that's why we're kind of screwed with more mosquitoes right now. And it's starting to get warmer. All right, so if you guys don't know, they launched Artemis today. It was a good launch. So this was taken earlier. So NASA administrator, the U.S. will have a moon base in the next 5 years. Here's how we're going to do it. We're going to start launching in early 27. We're going to literally start putting landers. These are uncrewed robot landers and rovers on the surface of the moon on a near monthly cadence starting in 2027. SpaceX and Blue Origin, are they even... how is Blue Origin going to help? They haven't been getting stuff out like Elon Musk has. Will be critical private partners in building of the base. Where will we get the energy to sustain a moon base? So NASA tells me we're eventually going to have a nuclear... Oh, it's all in video. Let's listen to it.
Because the moon base, you said, is going to begin construction when?
I've heard conspiracy theories that China has a moon base on the back of the moon that we can't see. And I hope when they fly over, maybe that's what they're looking for. Because they're not even landing on the moon this time around.
Oh, we're going to start launching in early 2027. Like, we are going to literally start putting landers. These are uncrewed robotic landers and rovers on the surface of the moon on a near monthly cadence starting in 2027.
What is going to be built? What's it going to look like?
People ask that too. And I was like, I bet when you think of moon base, you think of this beautiful glass dome. I was like, think of it closer to a junkyard. Like, we are going to have so many like broken down rovers and landers everywhere, but that's actually how you do it. You know, we started with Alan Shepard on a 10-minute mission to space, right? And from there, 8 years later,
Donald Trump, don't trust China. China is
don't just jump to the end state, right? So what are we doing? We are going to experiment. Phase 1 is all about lots of landers, lots of rovers, packed with science instruments, packed with tech demonstrations. We are going to figure out, what should the surface comms be like? What should the orbital comms be like? What is the best power source? We're going to have solar power. We're going to have nuclear-powered RTGs. We're eventually going to have a nuclear power plant on the moon, but you do it in a logical, evolutionary way. So what are we going to do? We're going to have lots of landings, lots of rovers. We're going to...
Wait a minute. So we can put a nuclear plant on the moon, but we can't put any in the United States anymore? It's the safest form of energy.
That'll inform phase 2 till we get to phase 3, where you're going to have that real enduring presence on the moon.
And, because the moon, and you know what they're talking about is I've actually seen these when he's talking about, we have these new small nuclear packs. Let's see, small nuclear packs. Let's see if we can find them. They're, how works the micro modular nuclear reactor? This is it right here.
This little guy packs a big punch.
It's like marbles, right? Is this the one I'm thinking of?
It's the size of a walnut and can release the same energy as 2,000 liters of diesel. Not bad for a rock. With so much power comes great responsibility. For as fission reactions take place, the uranium fuel is slowly transforming into roughly 1/3 of the periodic table as solids and gases. These are the radioactive fission products that make nuclear waste dangerous, and they must be permanently contained. So beyond generating heat, the fuel needs to trap the fission products in place. In FCM fuel, millimeter-sized bits of uranium are trapped in tiny ceramic pressure vessels that can withstand extreme temperatures and radiation. These particles are then encased within a fully dense silicon carbide matrix, somewhat like encasing the fuel in a diamond. Silicon carbide is used for tank armor and has an extremely high melting temperature, far beyond the heat generated by the fuel. It is particularly resilient to radiation and does not chemically interact with other materials in the reactor. If the pellet is fractured, the fuel particles can remain intact as they are smaller than the smallest fragments. The core is assembled with enough fuel and graphite blocks to produce heat through self-sustaining fission reactions. This fully ceramic core has the lowest power density of any commercial reactor ever, allowing it to easily dissipate excess heat. To power it up, control rods are withdrawn and the fission reactions can begin. But these reactions slow down at higher temperatures. So to keep producing power, the reactor has to be cooled. If cooling stops, the reactor automatically shuts down. Helium carries heat out of the nuclear core. It is a harmless, noble gas, completely unreactive and stable. And while somewhat inefficient, it is the safest coolant available. Now, the problem with nuclear fuel is that it continues to generate heat even after the reactor is powered down. It will continue to generate roughly 10% of the original heat for hours and days to come. And if it's not cooled, that heat will pile up. The challenge with nuclear has always been to ensure the reactor does not damage itself when cooling is lost. The MMR can dissipate all excess heat passively and harmlessly into the environment in any scenario. Like a warm puck, it cools off just by sitting there. No moving parts or fluids.
I watched a documentary on it a while ago. Trisonuclear fuel, how it's made. Here we go. This thing right here.
Radiant is a startup developing Kaleidos, a portable 1.2 megawatt microreactor. Kaleidos can be up and running within an hour, replacing diesel generators used by remote communities, backup power, or relief during disaster scenarios. Our reactor is being designed with SimEngine, our in-house tool fusing reactor digital twins with aerospace-derived, hardware-in-the-loop simulators. Let's take a look inside Kaleidos to see how this capability accelerates reactor and control systems development. Kaleidos produces heat through a controlled fission chain reaction in the graphite moderated core. A compressor forces helium through the core in the primary loop. Helium is an inherently safe heat transfer fluid because it doesn't become radioactive. The primary loop transfers heat to a supercritical CO2 Brayton cycle, producing power in response to customer load. The fission reaction is controlled by the motion of 16 control drums in a ring around the core, each containing an arc of neutron poison.
Welcome.
Meltdown-proof particles are arranged in compact cylinders stacked in fuel channels.
I appreciate it.
State-of-the-art multi-physics modeling tools from the Department of Energy's NEAMS program.
So I think this is what they're talking about, putting up on
estimates of reactor criticality,
on the moon.
Fuel performance, and temperature distribution under a range of operating conditions.
Yeah, I don't understand why that is. Well, I do. It's
reduced order models derived from these high-fidelity outputs allow real-time simulation of the reactor and its control system with SimEngine. SimEngine's real-time modeling capability enables direct coupling with physical systems, demonstrated here by the integration of a control drum into the sim.
So this is what they're talking about putting up on the moon to start off with, before they put up a real nuclear reactor.
Position commands are sent to the drum, while its real position is encoded and fed back into the system. Any mismatch between the physical and simulated system is used to improve modeling fidelity, allowing for rapid risk buy-down. As it runs, the simulation is keeping track of all reactor temperatures, including the core, its control drums, and the pressure vessel.
Thank you, Angel
An air
Joy.
jacket
I
allows
appreciate
direct
that.
passive cooling of the pressure vessel under fault scenarios. Insulation reduces heat leak under normal operation and allows for the use of low-temperature, cost-effective shielding materials. Parameters such as core reactivity, vessel and fuel temperatures, and output power are plotted alongside the simulation. SimEngine will now demonstrate integrated execution of the reactor digital twin with its real-time control system as it goes through a startup. Drums are rotated to insert reactivity until criticality is achieved. At this point, the neutron population starts growing exponentially. When the core starts to heat up due to the release of fission energy, the control system further turns the drums in order to maintain criticality. The drums move by an additional 30 degrees to offset the core's negative temperature feedback coefficient.
Anyways, you guys get the point. So this is what I think when they say they're going to start off with small nuclear power up there. But, you know, it said it takes an hour to start up. That's interesting. I wonder why it takes an hour to start up. Why it can't just be like automatic. And the reason I ask that is because, you know, I live up here in Yosemite. Our power goes out all the time. Like we had a storm 3 years ago. We didn't have power for 21 days. But, you know, from the company, I should say. We have here it's a Generac whole home generator. So the minute the power goes off, within 30 seconds, you hear, and it starts up and we have power running. It's propane powered. So... Oh, Polar Play, thank you for rating the stream, Polar Play. I appreciate that, man. We're getting all kinds of rates today. I appreciate you. That's awesome. And so I don't know why it would take. Well, I guess they're just saying that's how fast it can start up. So what they're talking about is something like this. They're going to fly to the moon and put on their base, and that's how it's going to work. And I got to be honest. You know how they said the first couple trips they're not going to have humans out there. It's just going to be unmanned. Bringing stuff up there. I think they're going to have Optimus robots, and all kinds of AI robots up there building the station, getting it put together, so that way, by the time the first human arrives on the moon base, and once again, like we're saying, if we don't already have a moon base up there, they're not telling us about, because all you got to do is put it on the backside of the moon, and we'll never see it. But I digress. So anyways, that's why I think they're going to put all this up there. They're going to have all these AI robots putting everything together. So when you get the very first human up there, the base is already going to be built. You know, you're going to have the facilities where, you know, people walk through. And what I think it is, I don't, you know, like you said, it's not going to be a big dome. I don't think so either. I think what it's going to be is a whole bunch of, you know, like round buildings or what have you, connected via tunnel or hall, either tunnels or halls. And so if you want to go outside, you're going to have to wear a spacesuit. That's my opinion. You know, I'm no expert. I'm just a dumb triple guy here, right? That likes to speak about stuff on the news. So that's what I think is going to be happening when we got people up there. If, like I said, if we don't already have people up there. There's big time conspiracy theories talking about how China has a base up there already. In fact, you know what? Let's look it up real quick. We got time. I like going off on small little tangents, and I also like showing you, you know, where I get my information from. So China, moon base theory. Everything you need to know about China's moon missions. No, China's lunar base is no longer a concept. Where's the conspiracy theory one, though? China builds international moon base concept. China's moon base. Discovery revealed. This is way too long. Here's a shorter one. Let's look at this one.
It's not the dark side of the moon. That's a myth. It gets just as much sunlight as the side we see every night, but it is the unseen side. The side permanently shielded from Earth by a cosmic lock. And in that isolation, in that eternal silence, some of the most terrifying secrets of the solar system are said to reside. For decades, the far side of the moon was the ultimate prize, the final frontier of lunar exploration. It was a place where no human-made signal could reach, a place of perfect radio silence. A place where, perhaps...
No, you can. If you got a satellite behind it on this side, it can shoot back at the back of the moon. I don't see how you can't. You can get a signal there.
Something alien, something secret could be waiting. For 50 years, the West dominated space. NASA, the Apollo missions, the space shuttle, these were the symbols of human ambition. But that era is over. A new space race is here, and the undisputed champion of the moon is China. In 2019, the Chinese National Space Administration, or CNSA, achieved what no other nation had even attempted. They landed the Change 4 probe in the von Karman crater, a desolate, ancient basin on the far side of the moon, and they didn't stop there. In 2024, the Change 6 mission returned to Earth with the first ever samples from this forbidden territory. China has claimed the strategic high ground. They have secured the most mysterious, isolated territory in our solar system. The question is no longer if they went there, but why? Was it merely for science, or was it a calculated move to uncover the ultimate secret that NASA and the West have been trying to ignore for decades? We believe China's mission is not just about geology. It's about a hidden history, a secret base, and a signal that could change everything we know about our place in the universe. The conspiracy theories surrounding the far side are not new. They date all the way back to the Apollo era. It's claimed that astronauts saw things they were ordered to keep silent about. Unidentified flying objects, massive geometric structures, and lights that defy explanation. The logic is chillingly simple. If you wanted to observe Earth without being observed, where would you go? The far side of the moon. It offers a stable, high-ground vantage point, and the Earth itself acts as a massive shield against any detection from our planet.
You'd have to come out to look
Think about this for a moment. The near side of the moon, the side facing us, is bombarded by a constant cacophony of radio waves. Every cell phone, every radio tower, every television broadcast on Earth creates an impenetrable wall of noise. But the far side? It is the quietest place in the inner solar system, absolutely silent.
Interesting.
Imagine a signal, faint and repeating, that has been traveling through the cosmos for thousands, maybe millions of years. A signal that, when it finally reaches our celestial neighborhood, is completely drowned out by the noise of human civilization. The far side, with its perfect radio silence, is the only place where such a signal could be clearly received. So, was China's Change program, with its complex Quiqiao relay satellite, just a scientific endeavor? Or was it a desperate, high-stakes attempt to establish a permanent listening post on the only quiet spot in our immediate cosmic neighborhood? A place
now that
where
makes sense. So what they're trying to say here is that, you know, it's like, you know, if you want to see the stars and you're in the middle of a big city, it's hard because all the light from the city creates light pollution, so you can't see it. So they're saying all of our signals, like cell phone signals, radio signals, it doesn't go through the moon, so it's hidden behind the moon. And so if you want to hear stuff, then you can hear it better from that area. That makes a whole lot of sense, right? Because shoot, when I was working up in Anchorage, Alaska, we couldn't see, you know, the sky, right? If you wanted to see all the, you know, the good colors, you know, that stuff. Oh, thank you, Polar Play, for following us. So we would have to go out, you know, into the forest so you could see it all better because of the light pollution. So this makes a lot of sense.
could intercept a message that was never meant for anyone on Earth. The differences between the moon's designs are stark and baffling. The near side has a thin crust, about 30 kilometers thick. The far side, it's twice as thick, a massive 60 kilometers deep. The near side is covered in vast, dark plains of ancient lava flows called Maria. The far side has almost none, leaving its ancient, cratered surface pristine. The composition is different, too. The near side is rich in heat-producing elements, while the far side is colder, more depleted. This chilling divide suggests a violent, asymmetrical birth, or perhaps a massive, ancient impact that changed one side forever. In 2023, data from China's Change for rover was used to map the subsurface of the far side, revealing nearly 1,000 feet of hidden layers.
See, and you're telling me, you know, they got these robots running out there, but they don't have a base up there? I don't know.
Now, official scientific explanations claim these are just ancient lava flows and impact debris. But the sheer complexity and depth of these structures have led others to ask a far more unsettling question. Could these be the buried...
I keep saying it every day. I can't wait till I die. Because like they say, when you die and you go to heaven, then God will answer all your questions. And I've got a whole bunch of questions. It says, this should be a motivational video for every entrepreneur. Be consistent, be patient. What's going on here?
Iran could produce a nuclear weapon in a very short time. It could be a year.
They have the wherewithal, the stored up, preserved knowledge to make a bomb very quickly if they wanted to.
Iran is so dangerous. Weeks away from having the fissile material for an entire arsenal of nuclear bombs.
They're very close. They're 6 months away from being about 90% of having the enriched uranium for an atom bomb.
Iran is gearing up to produce 25 bombs, atomic bombs a year, 250 bombs in a decade. Iran will...
Okay, so he's basically making fun of him, saying he's been saying this for years, right? But when you make a bomb, you're not going to want everybody to know you have it. You know, when you're a little country like that. You know, of course, the United States, we're huge, right? We want everybody to know we got the bombs. But a little tiny country like that, you don't want them to know. Because, you know, you want to be able to build and build and build and have enough bombs so when they finally do find out, you can, you know, handle what's coming at you. So, you know, I'm not you know, I like Mario Nawful, but I don't agree with them on some of this stuff. And you shouldn't. How many times have I told you guys? If you agree with 100% of everything President Donald J. Trump says, then you're a follower. You got to disagree every once in a while. That's just, you know, nature. If we all agree about the same thing all the time, we'd have a boring effing world. So 2 women ran out on their tab after eating and drinking at Tasty Tales in Dallas. This small family-owned restaurant is now asking for help in identifying them. Well, I'm not in Dallas, but let's play the video. Oh, it doesn't even have any sound. So it's the, you know, I'm not going to say anything, but, you know. So they're eating. What are they eating? They got fries there. It looks like, hold on. So they got a trash bucket, right? So I'm guessing that's some, oh my gosh, crawdads or something, right? Because I don't eat, you know, I don't eat seafood, so I don't know. But it looks like, because they're just throwing it in there. You see the corn and stuff. Isn't it crawdads what they eat in Louisiana? I think that's what they're eating. So look, now she's looking where they at. Okay, I'm going to bounce out of here. I'm going to get going. Girl, you ain't paying? I ain't paying this motherfucking bill. No, I better get out of here too, because I am not paying this bill. They left it for, well, I don't know if she's Chinito or not. She looks kind of Chinese. She's more Peruvian or something like that, but I think this is Chinita. They're like, we'll let the Chinita pay. Let the Chinese girl pay. She can pay. She's Chinese. She can afford it. She can afford it. I know. Stereotype, Eddie. You shouldn't talk about stereotypes. I don't care. It's my show. Okay, so NATO. While Congress forbid President Trump from withdrawing from NATO, it did not limit his ability to bring home 100,000 U.S. troops stationed at 200 installations across 19 European nations. He ought to bring them back home now. This is an article from Amuse, and this was March 31st, so it was yesterday. By the way, happy April Fool's Day, everybody. So it says, there is a moment in the life of any institution when its defining contradiction becomes impossible to ignore. The contradiction does not appear all at once. It accumulates slowly like water behind a dam, and then one day a small concrete event makes visible what had been hiding in plain sight for many, many years. Easy with that Chinita stuff. Gavin. The sequence of events deserves to be told plainly because this logic is devastating. Iran, though through no fault of Turkey's, targeted a NATO member state with multiple ballistic missile attacks. Turkey, a dues-paying, treaty-bound member of the North Atlantic Alliance, turned to a fellow member for help. It asked Poland to provide a single Patriot air defense battery on a temporary basis for the straightforward purpose of protecting Turkish civilizations and territory from foreign national missiles. And Poland refused. And that's the problem with NATO. We go in and we put in all the, we're the biggest protector of NATO, right? You know how you got that, you got that friend. You got a friend who starts all the fights. But then as soon as the fight happens, they go and they turn around to their buddies saying, all right, you're the big guy, time for you to fight. That's what NATO is. NATO goes out there and they put up all the stuff. They start the fights, and then they look at the United States and say, okay, come in and defend us. But they're not putting in their money to help us defend them. We had it to where President Trump got NATO to start paying us more money. Not what we deserved yet, but they were paying us more. And then Biden ruined it. Or I should say the Democrats ruined it. It's just a joke. And that's the problem. Everything, President Trump can turn this country around and make it great and make everything good about our country, get rid of all the fraud. But then as soon as a Democrat politician comes in as a president, guess what? It's just all right back to where it was. Okay, so here we go. Minnesota Democrats allowed Somalis at health nonprofit UCare to keep stealing millions of tax dollars despite obvious signs of fraud. Let's see what this story is all about.
Claims. The Fox 9 investigators spent months interviewing legal experts.
I like my Chinese girl or Asian girls, Gavin.
And analyzing hundreds of court records involving Medicaid fraud in Minnesota. Our cameras rolling recently outside the Rice County Courthouse in Faribault as this woman, Nazro Takal, attempted to conceal her identity on her way to pleading guilty for her role.
Yeah, they gave her 6 months.
A multi-million-dollar
They gave this woman 6 months in jail. That's it. 6 months.
Scheme. Court records revealing UCare's failure to freeze Medicaid funding to companies associated with the call, despite repeated red flags, impossible billing claims, and credible allegations of fraud. UCare believed Takal, an interpreter, was recruiting and exploiting Somali community members by booking thousands of phantom appointments through several different agencies.
That was a lot of UCare money that was being stolen. And when you think about a sophisticated ring like that being able to work together to game the system, you have to wonder whether or not fraud...
And here's another thing, folks. Somalis, there aren't a lot of very intelligent Somalis. Let's be real here, right? Their country just doesn't have the ability to teach them well and stuff like that. And granted, there's going to be some very smart people from there. They're not all dumb. They're not all smart. So somebody else has to be helping these people get this and getting their cut. And I think that's how it works. You just find some person that doesn't know any better, and you say, hey, you know what? You want to make some money? You could possibly go to jail, but you're going to make millions of dollars. But you got to give us our cut. We're going to help you, but you got to give us our cut. That's how it works.
And efforts and oversight efforts were up to the task.
According to our reporting, Takal was banned by UCare in 2019 because of a credible allegation of fraud. But still, the money kept flowing for 2 more years as Tikal used invalid or fabricated names to continue booking hundreds of rides and interpreter services through those very same agencies. Should that have been discovered, reported, stopped earlier?
Undoubtedly so, right? I mean, I think there are major red flags with the pit stop case, right? When you have large groups of people traveling long distances, passing up, right, other qualified providers, right, from Faribault through Northfield, through the Twin Cities to get to the North Metro. I mean, I think that definitely should have raised some red flags.
Everybody got quiet all of a sudden.
Should have looked into sooner.
UCare, which is now folding due to massive losses in the Medicaid market, did not respond to multiple interview requests. But according to managed care contracts reviewed by the Fox 9 investigators, UCare was required to suspend payments to providers when they received a credible allegation of fraud. Yet court records show that UCare issued roughly $600,000 in overpayments after Tikal was banned. Did they have adequate policies in place to detect and report fraud, and did they?
So I've only been in this job for a year, and UCare is now no longer in business. So I can't necessarily speak on.
Are they no longer in business, or they just changed their name?
Is that it is troubling, right?
What's supposed to happen is when you have a credible allegation of fraud, they have a mechanism to withhold payment immediately.
Steve Forrest is a former prosecutor with the Medicaid Fraud Control Unit inside the Minnesota Attorney General's office. He would not comment on any specific cases, but said both DHS and the managed care organizations like UCare, the first line in defense when it comes to detecting fraud, were asleep at the wheel.
There are all sorts of issues with the system. You don't get the level and scale of fraud that we have been experiencing.
Okay, and real quick, I'm going to show you this, just in case, since we're talking about fraud. So recently, very recently, I realized that somebody stole my identity, okay? And so I called the state of California Secretary's office, and it says, thank you for contacting the Secretary of State's office. We received your submission about potentially unauthorized use of your personal information in a business filing on our records for Elegant LLC entity number, blah, blah, blah. It says, although corporations and other business entities are required to file records with the California State Secretary, does not regulate these activities of businesses entities. The investigation and regulation of individual activities by corporations and other business entities are left to other state or local agencies through private civil lawsuits. It says once a business entity is provided to the office for filing and complies with all its applicable laws, the document will be filed. So unfortunately, they say right here, unfortunately, the law does not permit the Secretary of State to remove or redact public records based on the information provided in your inquiry. I told them they stole my identity, right? Specifically, there are only certain situations that would allow the Secretary of State to shield or otherwise redact information appearing in the public records. For example, certain information may be shielded. So it says, if the personal identifying information used in filing papers within the agent of service, blah, 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 you may wish to file a disclaimer of proper appointment from our office. So they're not doing anything for me, basically. And we're not going to do anything. So I'm working on filing my police report. I am not going to see it but I'm working on filing a police report right now. And now I have to contact everybody and say, hey, you know what? They stole my identity. Gavin says, didn't one of the Minnesota fraudsters that stole millions only get 1 year? I think she only got 6 months, Gavin.
Minnesota without,
let's see, I think they're going to talk about
sort of a universal dropping of the ball.
I don't think he's lying. I think I'll be upfront, right? The state needs to do a better job. Managed care organizations need to do a better job.
Not criticizing the managed care organizations, but it's another level.
Governor Walz now proposing to eliminate the MCOs or private insurers like UCare from Minnesota's Medicaid Assistance Program.
And when something goes on there, if the state needs to be responsible for taxpayer dollars, we need to have it centralized where we can take that accountability.
Why is the governor proposing doing away with the MCOs in the Medicaid reimbursement programs?
That's a good question. I think in Minnesota, we have an extremely complicated Medicaid system, right? You have the Department of Human Services. You also have 8 different managed care organizations. So it's decentralized, it's fragmented, and it's complicated, right? So I think the idea is streamlining Medicaid in Minnesota, centralizing Medicaid in Minnesota.
Meantime, in a separate fraud case the Fox 9 investigators reviewed involving UCare, state investigators said that more than $500,000 in fraudulent billing continued unabated, even while the therapist was under criminal investigation.
Wow.
The lead attorney in the Medicaid Fraud Control Unit in the Attorney General's office, writing in one court record, the therapist did this because of greed and because it was easy.
Because of greed?
Paul
No
Bloom,
way.
Fox 9.
Just insane. And the fraudsters still keep going. California has, since Nick Shirley came out, has now started blocking stuff. So we can't even see, look up information anymore. All these politicians are making money, left and right, folks. It's just insane. You bet Elegant Designs is that Fat Tower District home, Dallas. Well, actually, you want to know what's funny? So it's called Elegant Satin, okay? It's called Elegant Satin. And so my wife and I, when I was married, had a thrift store, right? So when I type in Elegant Satin LLC, because they use my home address in Madera. So when I type this in and type in Madera, watch what pops up. It's a they're saying it's a quinceañera address, right? It appears you may be looking for Elegancia Couture. No, okay, that's why they're doing that. The other one I looked at shows them at my old thrift store in Madera. What was the address there? 105. Was it one? I forget what the address was. Anyways, I don't know. Somebody stole my identity, and it's a pain in the ass. So get this. Iran's new regime president, much less radicalized and far more intelligent than his predecessors, has just asked the United States of America for a ceasefire. We will consider when Hormuz Strait is open, free, and clear. Until then, we are blasting Iran into oblivion, or as they say, back to the Stone Ages. Apparently they put a false thing on there, but that's from Rapid Response. That's from the president, the White House right there. But I don't know who stole my identity. It sucks. It's going to be a pain in the ass now. Every time so when I go to buy a house now, it's going to be extremely hard because of this. All right, California identity scam. So James O'Keefe said until they start doing something, he's going to keep putting this out. Petition fraudsters logging into an online database to supply real voter names for forged signatures. In fact, what store did I go to the other day where they had them outside? I think it was Vaughn's. It says, you're not going to use your name. I'm giving you one. Let's watch the video.
We caught the petition fraudsters on Skid Row in Los Angeles on video accessing an online database of registered voters.
This is the last name you're going to use. You're not going to use your name. I'm giving you a name to use, but you're going to use your first name.
And giving names of registered voters from that database to the homeless to impersonate those voters and signed petitions in other people's names.
He finished. Yeah.
Committing felony election fraud and forgery, all for $3 apiece. We showed this footage to disenfranchised voters whose signatures were forged on the petition, and those voters say, throw the book at them.
Now I know not to sign any of those petitions anymore. Yeah, prosecute them and probably
you won't be able to because they already took
now, because you haven't registered, I need to register you so I can get paid too. I'm paying you guys, I need to get paid.
Cam Higbee and I tracked down Brenda Brown to inform her that she's been committing federal felonies and election fraud.
You gave cash for a voter registration form. You know it's a federal crime, right? Who do you work for? Who's giving you the cash?
Join the good guys.
Join us. Be a hero. Blow the whistle on it, Brenda.
I'll talk to you, but I don't want to talk to him.
I'm okay.
But you come in, but not there.
Okay.
Without your thing right there.
Here you go.
We turn off all recording devices as requested and go inside.
I'll be right back.
Oh, wow.
And using the information she provided to us, we tracked down the people that hired Brenda Brown.
If we do something wrong out there,
we should be prosecuted.
Tony Moore even mentioning the database they were using, sigvalid.com.
There's a data app that they use too.
Sigvalid.com.
Sigvalid.com.
You want me to tell you what the problem is?
What is it?
We catch people all the time doing fraud. The state does not prosecute. If there's no consequences to what you're doing, it doesn't matter.
Oh, I missed part 2. I'm gonna go back and watch part 2.
Over the past few weeks, my team and I have been undercover in Los Angeles, investigating an elaborate pyramid scheme involving election fraud, ballot fraud, unregistered petition circulators, identity theft, and signature forgery, all state and federal felonies. Well, today, we take you on another level. Deeper we go. We were able to record one of these fraudsters directly in the act of obtaining a false identity for a homeless person to use on a petition, but he obtained it using a mysterious online database. The fraudulent petitioner selects Los Angeles, enters a zip code, 90501, and then a generic name, Chris. It is safe to assume that there is a Chris in every zip code, so these search parameters will give him multiple Chris's in the zip code 90501 that he can get this homeless person to pose as on his petition.
Okay, I'm doing here. Chris. First name. Emmanuel. I know. Don't worry about it. I'll give you a new name. This is the last name you're going to use. You're not going to use your name. I'm giving you a name to use, but you don't use your first name. Okay, so the last name will be CASTELLO.
Wow. The fraudster reads off Chris Costello's address, which we are omitting from this report to protect that innocent person's privacy. You can see the URL of the website the fraudster is using, online.sigvalid.com. My team attempted to access this site, but we were met with a login page, which begs the question, how did this individual get access to that website? More on that later.
And the zip code is going to be 90501.
The fraudster has now given the homeless person all the information he needs to sign the petition in Chris Costello's name. The homeless man will now forge Chris Costello's signature on the petition.
He's finished. Yeah.
The petition fraudster notifies his co-conspirator. The man is finished signing all of the petitions, and they proceed to pay him $3 is all it takes in exchange for election fraud, felonies, and forgery. We then went to the address that the fraudster read out from the website to speak to the current resident. His first name was not Chris, but his last name was Costello.
So I don't mean to alarm you. My name is Michael Casey. I'm with journalist at the O'Keefe Media Group. We're doing a story on fraudulent petition circulation going on. It's in Skid Row. And your name is actually being used by some fraudsters.
CASTELLO.
Costello, he spells it out there. And then watch. That's your address, right?
Yeah,
so there he is on a database right there, pulling up your name and you torrents.
Yeah.
$2 cash.
Okay, so I'm not signing no more petitions out in front of the store now. Now I know not to sign any of those petitions.
That's not where they're getting it, though.
You can confirm that that's your address, that's your name and everything, and
they're getting it from. So there's an online database of all voters, and that's where they're getting it from. Like when I ran for county supervisor, I had to pay so much money, and they gave me a list of all the voters in my district. And thankfully, I was given, the Republican Party of Madera gave me that, so I didn't have to pay for it because they already had a copy of it. But that's where they're getting it from.
But that was not you who signed it.
That is my address, my zip code, my city, where I live at. And ever since I've been registered to vote since 1996 until present, I've never been to Skid Row like you asked.
So do you believe, sir and ma'am, that these people should be prosecuted for this, for stealing people's identities and everything and sign this illegally?
I still have the document, the PDF with all the names of voters in my district.
The governor is now saying he's going to investigate. The federal government's going to investigating it now, too.
The old governor or the new one coming in?
you never know, right? So
that's why I said which one, because remember, he might be out of office by this next election.
I appreciate your time, sir. Is there anything else you wanted to say?
Everybody be careful what you sign.
Yep.
Because you haven't registered, I need to register you so I can get paid too.
Speaking of signings, everybody that's watching, if you're willing to, can you just say hi or something in the chat so I can get my unique? You got to get unique chatters every month. So many. You know what, dude? That's fine.
You may remember this woman, Brenda Brown, from our previous piece on the scheme. We went to her address to make her aware that we had recorded her in the act.
I haven't seen number 2 yet. I gotta watch number 2.
California election law, but also committing a federal felony. We're in Brenda Brown's apartment complex.
Pretty nice looking complex.
That's the individual who paid cash for
Freaking Gavin.
That's a federal felony, and we're at her door.
It's a pretty nice little neighborhood.
Hey, Brenda Brown?
Yes, sir.
Hey, may I talk to you for a moment? How you doing? How are you doing? James O'Keefe. No, this is the cash that you gave for registration form. It's a federal felony. It's a federal felony to give cash.
Oh, but then, so what's going on now?
This is you on tape.
So what's going on?
What's going on is that it's a federal crime. And the Department of Justice is looking into this because you gave cash for a voter registration form. You know it's a federal crime, right?
So what's going on? What's going on?
Well, what's going on is I'm a journalist and I published a video about it. That's you, right?
I ask you why you did it.
Why'd you do it? Who do you work for? Who's giving you the cash?
Join the good guys.
Join us. Be a hero. Blow the whistle on it, Brenda.
Come to our side.
Take it off? You could be a hero and tell the world who's giving you the cash. We want to work with you.
I'll talk to you, but I don't want to talk to them.
I'm okay.
But you come in, but not them.
Okay. Very good. I'll do that.
Come on.
Come on.
Right there.
Here you go. Just me, right?
Yeah, come on.
I'll be right back. Okay. Brenda Brown did not agree to speaking on the record, but she did surrender some very interesting documentation to us. Brenda handed us a stack of petitions which she had not submitted yet, and something immediately caught our attention. Under declaration of circulator, Brenda hadn't signed it herself. It was instead signed by a man named Stephen Nelson, along with his address. So we tracked down this Stephen Nelson to figure out why.
How do you know Brenda?
I just met her right outside my apartment. She was just going to the bus stop. And I said, well, I know way you make a little extra money doing signatures, but doing canvassing. So we started doing it. But what I didn't know, Chloe, is that she was going downtown Los Angeles around some of the homeless people and paying them to sign the petition.
Do you think he doesn't know?
I never went down there with her. I never knew she was doing that. And it's a little bit my fault because I was supposed to keep a tighter eye on her.
What do you think?
Because I'm the one that signed off on the
Does he know
petition.
anything what's going on or not?
I immediately cut all ties with her. Since they found out about the lady, he said he couldn't accept any more petitions from me.
Oh, I see.
Yes, ma'am.
So these are the ones that you've done yourself?
No. Mrs. Brown, she did those, but she is not complete.
So these are all from her?
Yes, ma'am.
Stephen Nelson claims that these petitions were filled out and delivered to him by Brenda Brown. Notice that the declaration of circulator has not yet been signed. This backs up what we noticed on the petitions that Brenda Brown surrendered to us, that Stephen Nelson was signing as the circulator, despite Brenda Brown doing the circulating. This is what Brenda Brown was referring to when she called it all a, quote, pyramid game.
So it's like a pyramid game. If I were to hire you, you would be under me. Yes. I'm under him and you're under me.
Now, all of this is in violation of multiple California state laws, including Elections Code 104, which specifically refers to the declaration of the circulator.
Yeah, you should join.
States,
It's a
quote,
pyramid
each
scam.
section of the petition or paper shall have attached to it a declaration signed by the circulator of the petition on paper, setting forth in the circulator's own hand the following: that the circulator circulated this section and witnessed the appended signatures being written.
You would sign the bottom of them, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And do you know by signing, you're declaring that you observe these people signing? Do you know that you are declaring that you saw this person sign the petition?
Look at he can't even spell Los. Wait, hold on. Dude can't even spell Los Angeles right. Oh shoot! Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. What did I do? Here we go. Let's just go back a second. You don't know how to spell Los Angeles. Losangles. He forgot an E.
Do you know that you are declaring that you saw this person sign the petition?
I would say 80 or 90% of the time I did.
And did you know that she was also registering people to vote?
Well, what I told her not to
Is it raining?
do that.
It's raining.
But
You're
she
all
would
wet.
come back and
It's raining
help
again.
all those the registration forms, and I kept telling her that's too much paperwork.
Is it raining up there, Gavin?
To make it easier for us not to do that, just get the signatures. I never knew she was doing that.
I see.
As soon as I did, I cut ties with her at Union Station, and I ain't talked to her since.
Another document that Brown gave us was a paycheck. The paycheck was from a company called One More Petition. It is primarily operated by Tony Moore, the man whose signature is on this check. On One More Petition's business profile, Tony Moore is listed as the only principal employee. So we caught up with him to get his opinion on Brenda's actions.
I wanted to ask you if you have seen the story that was published.
Which one?
About Brenda Brown. Her right there?
No.
Oh, because she worked for you. Didn't she work for you before? Because I have a copy of a check when you paid her. Brenda,
Okay, yes.
Yeah, she
Yes.
still works for you,
Oh,
though,
now,
right?
wait.
She
wait.
did.
No, I don't know who that is. And well, we have a paycheck here for. Yeah. She used to work for me.
She hasn't turned in a long time.
Because, you know, Brenda was paying in Skid Row. There's a video.
Yeah, I know. That's why we don't deal with her anymore.
Because you found out that she was paying cash?
Can't say that.
Sure.
Okay.
I can't say anything about that.
Because she was paying $2 to $3
You know, bro.
to...
You know.
That is illegal, and she should be fined, and she should be sent to jail. That's my opinion on it.
Yes, Mr. Moore.
If we do something wrong out there, we should be prosecuted.
The journalist then questions Mr. Moore on whether he is aware that the petitioners are not just paying the homeless to sign, but also providing them with fraudulent names and addresses of registered voters, and asks where they might be getting that information.
Some people will go to the roll, actually go down to one of the cities and get the register's roll.
You know what?
Okay, I've
There's
seen.
a data app that they use too.
That's
It seems to be
one of the hard drives I just got back from the
DMV.
FBI, so I don't have it on me right now.
We use that all the time.
You use it?
Oh, yes.
For what reason?
To check to see if they're registered to vote.
To vote. And what is that app called? What is that?
Let me see if I still have it here.
SigValid.com.
SigValid.com.
You heard right. Tony Moore names SigValid.com. The same SigValid.com that we caught fraudulent petitioners using to find registered voter names and addresses and then giving them to the unregistered homeless so that they can forge their signatures. Tony Moore goes on to claim that SigValid is open and accessible to the public, which we already know is not true.
And who provides you guys that login?
It's open to anybody.
I've tried to get on it, but I am not able to.
Yeah, SigValid.com. It's
Okay, let's try real quick. What is it called? SigBallot.com? Okay, hold on. SigBallot.com. I think they might be saying it wrong. Nope. Can't find the server. Hold on. Let's go back and look. Let me see. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it again. Hold on. SigValid. Okay, SigValid. Go back here.
To the roll, actually go down to one of the cities and get the register's roll. Okay, I've
There's
seen.
a data app that they use too. That seems to be extracted from the DMV.
Correct, and that we use that all the time.
You use it?
Oh, yes.
For what reason?
To check to see if they're registered.
Yeah, you gotta be able to sign in.
And what is that app called? What is that?
How's it going, Andy?
SigValid.com.
SigValid.com.
You heard right. Tony Moore names SigValid.com. The same SigValid.com that we caught fraudulent petitioners using to find registered voter names and addresses and then giving them to the unregistered homeless so that they can forge their signatures. Tony Moore goes on to claim that SigValid is open and accessible to the public, which we already know is not true.
And who provides you?
Right, because we just went there right now. We just went there. Same thing. You got to have a username. Let's see if what if we, let's just do this. Well, you could not be authenticated. Yeah, there's no way to even try and enter, say, oh, I need to open it.
Guys that log in.
It's open to anybody.
I've tried to get on it, but I am not able to.
Yeah, SigValid.com. It's open to everybody.
It's interesting because you need a username and a password. I don't have that.
Well, now you need a username and password to get onto our databases.
There were captures on video of them using that particular app.
Sure,
but
everybody uses it.
But they're needing a username and a password.
Right. No, well, I don't. Nobody else does.
Sure.
You shouldn't.
Tony Moore goes on to claim that these petitions circulating companies catch their employees committing fraud, quote, all the time, but the state never prosecutes.
I'm very glad if Brenda is doing something wrong.
It's not just Brenda, Mr. Moore.
I understand that, but I'm saying...
There's hundreds of others on Skid Row and everywhere.
You want me to tell you what the problem is?
What is it?
Yeah, tell us.
We catch people all the time doing fraud. The state does not prosecute.
Now that is true, but still.
So why should these people care? If the state isn't going to come through and prosecute these people, if there's no consequences, that's why the consequences that we find, when we find something, we put them on the no-buy list, and they can't do petitions in California anymore. They can go to other states and do it. If there's no consequences to what you're doing, doesn't matter.
Especially now, paying and providing the homeless person a registered voter's name and address.
And that is against the law.
Yes, it is a felony.
It is a felony. Yeah. But if nothing happens with it.
Now, we happen to agree with Tony Moore's closing statement here. If there are no consequences or disincentives, then nothing really matters. If there are no consequences, then why do we even have these laws? Or do we even live in a nation of laws? Nobody has been arrested yet. I've promised you that arrests would be coming because these crimes are so egregious and so non-circumstantial. It's directly on tape. It's incontrovertible. There must be arrests. Otherwise, we are entering a post-constitutional republic and, frankly, entering a constitutional crisis. There were police officers who visited my headquarters yesterday to give me some type of papers to hold me accountable, but we need to see the people who've committed the crimes and committed the fraud, felonies, misdemeanors, federal felonies.
That's not going to happen because the people that are committing this stuff are paying politicians off not to be, come after, not for them to not to go after them. It's just a vicious. That's why politicians are just awful. Both sides. All right, so Attorney Pirro slams the soft on crime D.C. City Council for delaying a vote to extend the youth crime curfew.
That he would.
Do you guys think we need a youth curfew? I don't think that's going to help. Do you guys think that's going to help? I don't know. Let's see what
once
she's saying.
He made the executive order of making D.C. safe and beautiful. But now what we're dealing with is the fundamental problem of youth crime and teen violence. And that has always been the problem in D.C., and we're seeing it around the country, where these alleged social gatherings turn into criminal chaos, and where, families are affected by it, businesses end up being shuttered, there's violence that occurs, and so so this chaos turns into criminal activity. And the problem is that as a prosecutor, we cannot prosecute these cases, especially in D.C., because we do not have jurisdiction. The mentality in D.C. is that, you know, if you're less than 18 years of age, unless you kill somebody or do something really serious, it goes to the family court, where the purpose is simply what is in the best interest of the child. There is no punishment. There is no retribution. There is no deterrence. You can go to an ice cream social or yoga. So what has happened is the Mayor Bowser, to her credit, has tried to implement through the police department these curfews, 11 to 6. But there is now a discretionary curfew where if the police hear, for example, in the Navy Yard that there is going to be this teen gathering, teen takeover with hundreds of teens, they can say, we're doing a curfew here. The D.C. Council that is responsible for the teen crime, based upon the inept laws that they have passed, has basically said, you know what, we're going to postpone any decision and we're going to let the discretionary curfew run out. And they're doing this while the schools are on spring break. I mean, they are asking for a problem.
The judge. The question is, though, is it really going to work, right? Yes, kids are still going to go out. And maybe if you start affecting the parents, maybe if the parents are going to be punished by their kids being out, maybe that might change stuff. But just having a curfew, I guess that's going to give them easier ways to arrest the kids and get them off the street or take them back home. I don't know. What do you guys think? What are your thoughts? I don't know. I don't know what to think. All right, so look at this. Chuck Schumer says anything Donald Trump says tonight is because of this. Not because he cares about the troops, not because he cares about your rising costs. It's all about his numbers and himself, like everything else does. CNN poll conducted, so he's saying probably the poll is down. What does he care about polls anymore? President Trump doesn't care about that anymore. He can't get elected again. You really think he's worrying about what polls say about him? He doesn't care. At least I wouldn't think he does. All right, so this is closed caption TV footage captures the terrifying moment a Wisconsin-born journalist, Sherry Kittleson, is snatched off the streets of Baghdad. The 49-year-old was reportedly kidnapped by the Iran-backed militant group Kataib Hezbollah. Surveillance video shows men dragging her into the back of a car in Iraqi capital, and her abduction has been confirmed by Al Monitor, the independent media outlet where she works as a writer. Well, you know, let's see it. Let's see if we can see it. Okay, so that's her, I guess. They grab her. Well, what's she doing right there? You grab her, they throw her in the car. So them taking her, in my opinion, could be two different reasons. One, they don't want her to report on what's going on over there. And or two, they're gonna try and get a ransom for her. I wonder if we'll see if we get any ransom notes or something like that. All right, breaking news. The long TSA security lines have now plummeted by as much as 80% after the deployment of ICE. Let's see what they're saying here.
So, I mean, even going back in the last Democrat shutdown, they've had two historic shutdowns, and that's when the big story was air traffic controllers. And it feels like Democrats just want to use the American people as tools, as leverage points, as hostages to get what they want after they lost the last election. And so as I travel, I mean, again, it was getting bad, but, you know, thank goodness the president said, you know what, I'm not going to let the Democrats do that any longer to the American people. It's spring break. Families are traveling. And he took decisive action. It's getting better. So, again, we saw some airports, we were up to, you know, 3- and 4-hour lines. But those lines are coming down. I think the longest I've seen is 40 minutes. ICE has been a huge help as Democrats were trying to say ICE is going to be horrible and America's going to hate them. They're out there passing out water, helping people through the lines. They've been a godsend as we've navigated, you know, these Democrat problems they're full problems. We shouldn't have them, but Democrats again can't get their act together.
Weird. Is my chat not working anymore? Oh no! Oh, we got raided again by Polar Plays. Oh no, we got rated before. I don't know. Weird. Chat's messing up today, I think. I'm glad I don't fly anymore. And it's funny, you know, I watch a lot of these these flying videos, you know, of people flying in, you know, the most expensive, because I'm not going to fly anywhere again. Maybe once I no longer have my little buddy here, Donnie, I might fly somewhere, but I doubt it.
Trump administration's agenda is to bring manufacturing and jobs back to America. And you say that Nissan, again, is gaining momentum, as he said as well, and that market share could rise to 5%. It did for 2025. And that now you want to really tailor production to dealer demand rather than just, you know, relying on bulk output. One of your biggest factories, as he was talking about as well, is Tennessee, and that's Smyrna. You've got 6,000 employees, annual production capacity of 500,000 vehicles, Christian. So, you know, talk about this move, this push to bring the manufacturing facilities back to the United States. And really has this, in your mind, come from the president threatening tariffs on the foreign automakers?
I think it's working, definitely. And I guess, you know, it's really pushing all the manufacturers to do the right thing, which is really to build locally, to sell in the U.S. And in the last year, in the last 12 months, we've been increasing the proportion of cars that we build in the U.S. for the U.S. So a year ago, we're at 45% of our mix sold in the U.S. was made in the U.S. We're more than 2/3 today, and we'll go to 80%. We're bringing the new hybrid technology in the next 18 months to the.
All right, too much drama, but I'm glad they're bringing the jobs back to the United States. Let's just hope it doesn't all change once, you know, our next president comes in. Hopefully, our next president is a good one and on our side, the people's side. All right, Nevada Democrat Congresswoman Susie Lee deletes unhinged profanity-laced rant against President Trump going to SCOTUS. She said it's so fucking fucked up. I'll pray they fuck him to his face. I pray they fuck him to his face. Sorry, I say fuck a lot these days. Wow. Well, that's a congresswoman, a Democrat. You know, we all say that in our own words and stuff like that, right? But posting it on X when you're a congresswoman, yeah, not exactly the greatest idea. All right, they say it's official. The U.S. may leave NATO. Let's hear what he has to say, and then let's discuss if I like it, the idea or not.
If now we have reached a point where the NATO alliance means that we can't use those bases, that in fact, that we can no longer use those bases to defend America's interests, then NATO is a one-way street. Then NATO is simply about us having troops in Europe to defend Europe, but when we need their help, not their help, we're not asking them to conduct airstrikes. When we need them to allow us to use their military bases, their answer is no. Then why are we in NATO? You have to ask that question. Why do we have billions and billions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars, over the years, trillions of dollars, and all these American forces stationed in the region? If we can only use, in our time of need, we're not going to be allowed to use those bases. So I think there's no doubt, unfortunately, after this conflict is concluded, we are going to have to re-examine that relationship. We're going to have to re-examine the value of NATO and that alliance for our country. Ultimately, that's a decision for the president to make, and he'll have to make it. We're going to finish the job here. As I said, we're very, very close to achieving our objectives on all of these things that I've outlined. But I do think, unfortunately, we are going to have to re-examine whether or not this alliance that has served this country well for a while is still serving that purpose, or has it now become a one-way street where America is simply in a position to defend Europe, but when we need the help of our allies, they're going to deny us basing rights and they're going to deny us overflight? I think these are very legitimate questions that we need to be asking, and this are going to have to be very carefully examined after this conflict is over.
So let's talk about that. Do you think we have benefited from NATO as much as he's saying? I have trouble with that. I don't think so. We've always been the main weapon of NATO. We've been their fighter, right? And they're supposed to pay in a certain percentage, and none of them do. Maybe one country does, but we're always getting screwed. And us leaving NATO, I'll be honest with you, it doesn't really upset me. It doesn't really. Says, holy crap, no wonder Gavin Newsom is suing to block Trump's executive order requiring barcode tracking for mail-in ballots. California voter fraudster Shakir Khan had 71 names and 41 completed mail-in ballots at his single house. They want to protect fraud. Let's see about this guy. Is it going to say anything? There's no audio, is there? Nope, there's no audio. Just insane. What the heck was that noise? Where'd that come from? It's the FBI listening in on us. Hi, FBI. Thank you for giving my stuff back finally. All right, China's military-linked commercial satellite firms have been publicly tracking and releasing high-speed resolution imagery of every U.S. move in Iran from satellites since the war started. Right? I mean, listen, you know.
Donald Trump don't trust China. China is asshole.
So the analysts say this data is being studied for their AI, drone systems, and electronic warfare training. America is spending billions of dollars fighting Iran, and China is getting a low-cost masterclass in how the U.S. military actually operates. Yeah, think about that. So they're studying us. You know, whatever sport you watch football. What do they do on Monday morning? They go over and they watch all the videos, and they have people that specifically will sit there and watch other teams, so they know, okay, you know, this guy likes to pass to the left all the time, or this running back will run, he jukes all the time, or you know, whatever. This is very good information for them to study, right? Very good information. And he says, well, of course China is doing that, but we're doing it to them too. But China's not really striking anything right now, though, right? What is China striking that we can view? All right, Treasury Secretary, I should say. China would be stupid not to do it. Yeah, that's true, Andy. That's true. So Bassett is offering a massive payout to anyone who helps the government claw back hundreds of billions in taxpayer cash stolen by fraudsters who took advantage of COVID relief funds during Joe Biden's time of office. Bassett says that Biden administration let fraudsters run wild by stripping away fraud controls during the pandemic. Well, what about other fraudsters in Minnesota and California and every other state? Not just the COVID money, but at least I guess we can say they're getting started, right? At least they're starting to do something. How much are they going to be paying? Back in charge and offering a reward of up to 30% of recovered funds. Oh, that's huge. That is huge. Might be a reason for fraudster, you know, maybe. Maybe we might catch some people. So Don Lemon. I got 2 Don Lemon stories in a row. Don Lemon asked a random man if the United States should be in Iran, and he expected outrage. Watch this.
Should we be in Iran right now in a war?
We should. We absolutely should.
We should?
We should. There's no question.
You support it?
Fully.
Tell me
100%.
why.
You have a very oppressive regime that is a threat to democracy around the world. And this is a group of people that were in charge that can no longer wreak havoc in the world. And I think people that are believe in a better future will be better off.
They're wreaking havoc on our economy with the Strait of Hormuz.
If that's the case, maybe there's a short-term blip for a better future.
The head of National Counterintelligence resigned today. He said that Donald Trump was led into this war unnecessarily and that he's doing this for Bibi Netanyahu. Basically, he's saying we're fighting Israel's war. Do you agree with that?
I disagree wholeheartedly. If that's his prerogative, then so be it, the person that resigned. The U.S. needs Israel. They're our first front in the Middle East. And without Israel stopping...
Do you think Don Lemon asked this guy because he looks like he's from the Middle East?
The growth...
Not getting the answer he wanted.
Potential terrorism in the Middle East. The Europe, United States, and the broader West will eventually feel the potential consequences.
He's saying there's no imminent threat for the war, and there's no justification. There's no imminent threat to the U.S. nor Israel, and so doesn't understand why we went to do this now.
Well, I don't think there's one person that can speak for this whole country. This individual that resigned.
Well, not just him. I mean, that's what the intelligence shows as well.
You're entitled to believe that. I think if you look at
I like this guy.
Who's providing greater value to the world.
I understand what you're saying, but the war, if you go to war with someone, there has to be some imminent threat of attack. There was no imminent threat of an attack. and there's no intelligence that they have a nuclear
they're trying to
weapon.
build a nuclear weapon.
Well, you can get caught off guard all the time. I mean, look at what happened, 9/11. I'm sure you were here, as was I.
That's right. That's his name. So Andy says also Joe Kent is a piece of shit. Is a sack of shit. Excuse me. Yeah, that's who. That was Joe Kent, because somebody he knows. He's just against the war, right? He was doing it for personal reasons, which hey, he has every right to do it for his own personal reason. But he went out and instead of just quitting, he went out and talked to all the media. Oh, I'm quitting because of this and blah blah blah. And this and that. So once again, like I told you,
it's not about money for me.
We have 2 Don Lemon clips. Let me see if I can do it this way.
But it's not about money for me.
He's running for. He says he'll run for president.
Do I ever think about it? Yes. Could it happen? Yeah, it could happen. If the opportunity presented itself, the right opportunity presented itself. Look, if I wanted to, I know people are going to think I'm crazy. This is going to be the headline, and people are going to laugh about it. I think I could be president of the United States. I could definitely run this country better than
sure you
than Donald Trump.
Paper towel roll could, but yes,
yeah,
you would be a market improvement.
As an independent, though, there would be a hard time for me to run for anything because the way the
Nobody
system
would
is
vote
set up,
for
I
that
have
proof.
to choose a side, and so I probably would have to become a Democrat. And
you are a Democrat.
Yeah, so am I at that point now? No, and I know people are going to say Don Lemon is crazy, but yeah, look. Why can't I think about running for office? Why can't I think about being president of the United States?
You can think about all you want. It's just not going to happen.
Look at what we have. Did anybody think Barack Obama, as he says, this guy with a funny name, is from a mixed background? Did anybody ever think that he would become president, that he had that aspiration? I don't have an aspiration to become president, but I do think that I could run this country a lot better than Donald Trump. You know what else I think that I could run better
than? You think. You don't have any proof that you can. Isn't this also the guy that thought that airliner disappeared in a black hole? I don't know. Did he talk about that? We can look it up.
And I've actually talked about.
Let me look it up real quick. Don Lemon, airliner, black hole. Black hole theory for missing Malaysia flight. Oh yeah, it was him. It was him, Andy. Good call. Good call.
It's been about that last night. A news organization, because I was there. I've been in the game for so long, and I'm not interested in being, the anchor out front. I could come in and,
I remember I wanted to start my own plumbing company, and my boss told me, he's like, Eddie, just because you're the best plumber doesn't mean you're going to be the best business owner. They're 2 different things. They're totally different things. And he was right, I'm not good at figuring out prices to charge people. I'm like, oh, that's too much money, But then I realized, why they got to charge so much. You got your insurance, you got your wills, you got your taxes, your insurance, your gas, your parts, So he was right.
Fix the bulk of their problems and lickety split in no time.
Catch you later, Polar Plays.
Boom.
Boom.
Wow, I feel like we're making news. The Lemonheads merch is about to get.
Thanks for rating us. We appreciate it, Polar. All right, let's see what's going on here. So, Lawfare. Democracy Forward paid for the lawsuit, and Obama judge Allison Burroughs delivered the ruling, and President Trump cannot touch Biden's unlawful CBP-1 parole program. A far-left NGO and the partisan judge just locked millions of illegitimate migrants in space. What's going on here? So far-left NGO Democracy Forward funded a lawsuit before the Obama appointee, Allison Burroughs, who ordered Trump to reinstate parole status for CB1, who brought in unlawfully. Biden exploited a narrow parole authority to move millions across the border, and Burroughs just ruled that the president cannot reverse it. That's what they're talking about here. Yeah. I don't know when these judges started thinking that they can run our country and decide how things go, but this is getting so out of hand. It's been out of hand. What am I talking about? All right, Scott Jennings. What did he do now?
But here in the States, I think we're seeing the impact of this already as it relates to the midterms coming up. I mean, look at the Republicans. You all just
Andy?
lost
I
something
agree.
in Trump's backyard. I mean, if that doesn't send a message about how freaked out and scared and worried the American people are, I don't know what would.
And I feel like Trump's response indicates that he understands that, because he says that the Strait is going to open up once they stop fighting the war. He says we don't really have a role in ensuring that Iran doesn't control it. He's like, I wash my hands of it, and it'll just go back to the status quo pre-war once we're done.
First of all, I think making national security decisions based on a state house result in Florida in an off-year election is not a great way to make national security policy. That would be my rebuttal to that.
No, but it's the impact. It's not the decision-making, it's the impact.
Number two, generally, you want the commander-in-chief, in my opinion, to make national security decisions based on one thing. Is this in the best interest of protecting the American people? The decision he obviously made was that I've set a red line. They're not going to have nuclear weapons, and I'm tired of them for 47 years terrorizing the world, shooting us with missiles, shooting our allies with missiles, having this aggressive Navy. And they crossed a line with him, and now he's enforcing it. And to say, well, if gas goes up a nickel or we have a state house race in Florida, we can no longer operate national security policy, I think is an extremely short-sighted and cynical way to assess this. At the end of this, if they're totally defanged, if they meet our objectives here in terms of nukes and missiles and Navy and exporting terror, if there are new people in charge who are willing to abide by some kind of an agreement, that is a net positive for us, for the world, and that's what we're waiting.
It is, but I'm still gonna bitch about gas prices right now. Holy shit! On Saturday, I bought Costco diesel, which is cheaper, and I paid like $6.20, maybe $6.49 or something a gallon. But then I go to LA and I got stuck in traffic a lot, so it used up a lot of my diesel. So I had to buy diesel on the way home, and I got stuck paying $7.24 a gallon for diesel. Just insane. Just insane. It's awful. I'm going to bitch about it. But if this war needs to happen to protect the United States citizens, unfortunately, it's kind of one of those, well, we got to deal with it, right? So get this. Florida now has a SAVE Act. Governor Ron DeSantis is going to sign it. Watch this.
Constitution in the state of Florida says only American citizens are allowed to vote in our elections. And so we need to make sure that that is the law.
Good.
Our Constitution in the...
But yet, all of our senators are on vacation now because because frickin' John Thune didn't want to put up the standing filibuster. Pisses me off. Pisses me off big time. Assistant Attorney General Harmeet Dillon just sued Idaho for refusing to turn over its voter rolls. Why would a red state block Department of Justice access to make sure the voter rolls are clean of illegals and other ineligibles? Turn them over. Yeah, I mean, why would anybody, unless there's some kind of fraud going on? Guess what Andy says? It's nowhere near as much here. It's still expensive. You paid $4.79 for a premium a few days ago. Diesel is around $4.99. Yeah, let's go to Gas Buddy. Let's go find gas. Search. Let's go Fresno. We're gonna search diesel because that's what I use. Diesel. Let's just go Costco. Because I know they have the cheapest. So Costco right now, diesel, and this is the station I go to on Abbey, is $6.49 a gallon. So let's click on Costco and then let's look at prices. So regular is $5.24 and premium is $5.72. Let's go to I bought diesel in Bakersfield. That's where I bought diesel on Saturday. Well, no, it wasn't Bakersfield. It was Tejon. But anyway, so Bakersfield diesel $6.79, $6.89, $6.49 a fast trip. But the question is if this is diesel number 2 or biodiesel. It also doesn't say that. So let's go to El Tejon. What is it called? Tejon. Let's go Tejon. Tejan, California. Nope. Let's go back to Bakersfield. And let's go to a map. Can we look on a map? Or how far is it going to go? Bakersfield. More Bakersfield. Well, anyways, I paid $6. Let's see. Tihan outlets. Let's look what Tihan. Let's see. What was it? It was a Flying J, I think. Flying J. Near Tihan outlets. I think it was a Flying J. This might be it. Let's go to Lebec, California then. Okay, Lebec, California. LEBEC, California. So their Costco is $6.79 there. $7.29 at One Stop. $7.39 at Shell. So yeah, that's the price of where I paid. It's a joke. It's awful. It's awful. Boise is kind of blue and ruined by Californians too. Well, all big cities are, aren't they, Andy? I mean, all big cities are blue. Is there a red city that is bigger? Let's look it up. Is there a red city? Actually, let's go to X. Let's go to Grok. Is there a red city that has more than, let's say, 500,000 people? Let's look. Costco here has 87 at 509 and Gas and Supreme 549. Really? Okay, Republic leading cities. Oklahoma City is red. Okay, Mesa, Arizona. Tulsa, Oklahoma, or Jacksonville. Interesting. There's not very many, though. All right, so deep space mission. Humanity is heading back into deep space for the first time in over 50 years. NASA's Artemis 2 mission will send astronauts farther than any human traveled space since Apollo. And it's just the beginning. From a history-making crew to a high-stakes test flight around the moon, here's why this launch could be so important. First time in 50 years. But they're not going to the moon. They're going to fly around the moon. They're not going to the moon. They're going to fly around it. So we're not exactly going there yet. Some people, conspiracy theorists, say China has a base up there already on the other side that we don't see. And some people are saying Americans have one already. So here's them preparing for it this morning. This afternoon.
We are now getting a live look at the astronauts suiting up. As we mentioned earlier, we are still anticipating the 6:24 p.m. launch time. There's a 2-hour launch window for this attempt. Obviously, weather is going to play a key factor in here.
Andy, I got that one.
The launch could get delayed by weather conditions at Florida's Kennedy Space Center, but right now all indications are that this will be a 6:24 launch. And Benjamin, this is fascinating for us to get this inside look. You can only imagine what is going through those astronauts' heads as they suit up.
It might even be next.
Put the suits on and start to put themselves into that mental state to take off.
Man, I so wish I could go to space. I really would. I would enjoy it. I would. The best part of going on a plane trip is the takeoff and the landing, right? That's why I drive now, though, because I get to see the sights. So going out in space, you get to see stuff you've never seen before. I like to explore space and also the ocean. All right, so let's see what Kaylee McEnany is saying here.
Obama enabled this through loopholes dating back to 2009, and what that could mean is 1 million new voters by 2030. Imagine that, Communist Party voters.
Well, at that point, it becomes.
Look at these numbers. Eric Eggers, I spoke.
The birthright citizen. So it's I live streamed it this morning, the voice of it at least, and it doesn't sound good. It sounds like the justices are not gonna let President Trump stop birthright citizenship, which is just insane. So get this: a Connecticut state representative, Marianne Khan, a Democrat, appears to have replaced her American flag with the Pakistan flag. Look at this shit. She replaced her flag with the Pakistan flag. Of course, this could be AI. Somebody could have made it. Who knows? But that if she should be gone. You should not be a member of any elected official with that. I think if you were not born an American citizen, I don't think you should hold any position higher up than a county. You can, up to county, you can be an official, right? But once you get higher than that, nope. I think no way in hell should you be an official of anything in our country. Speaking of kids, have you guys seen this one? Only 45 seconds long. Yeah, I'll play that in a second. Hold on. I'm going to make a joke here in a minute.
Here are the crews coming out to the Astrovan. So there's a big mob of NASA employees cheering for them right now.
Let's take... This guy is actually from the Central... Is this guy from the Central Valley or is he from Lompoc? I forget. He's from here in California.
This in.
Yeah.
Go Navy. Thank you all for being out here. It's a great day for us. It's a great day for this team.
Okay, so here's what my joke is. Let me see if I can find it here. All right, so this is my new. Remember how I told you I had this new, the text to speech stuff. I'm not going to do it to you, Gavin, but I'm just saying I did provide this new thing here. Where look at this. So if you want now, if you want to automatically play a video on this show, you can go here to this webpage, which is streamlabs.com tip whatever. Here, let me put it in the comments. You can go to this website right here, right, and let me post it right here. I'm gonna play your video, but so from now, eventually, what I'm gonna start doing is, if you want to play, you can pay for a video message to go out, and you can also put in your YouTube video that you want to play here, and then it'll charge you a little bit, but it will automatically pay, and I cannot say no, I'm not gonna play that video because you paid to do it. But all right, let's copy Gavin's link and let's paste it up here. But I'm just saying, that's what we're gonna start doing eventually.
Say that you're a Christian, right? Say that you're a Christian. I want you to listen to me good. You say you're a Christian, but you're gay. But you're gay. You married a woman, you married a man, but you say you're a Christian. Wait a minute, now that don't add up.
Is this real, or is this is this kid really out there?
18 and 22 and see what it says. Go read Romans 1:26 through 27 and see what it says. Be careful who you let in the chamber of your marriage. I've had people to look at me and say, Mason, don't you know you got to have a license to preach? Huh? License to preach.
It's real? Okay.
I don't need no license to preach. There ain't no other man can tell me how to preach. And I'm sorry. The
How
Lord
old is
called
this
me
kid?
to preach and nobody else called me but the Lord. My mama
You pause it
didn't
right
know
there.
it. Say that you
How old is this kid? Holy jeez. That's interesting, Gavin. That's fun. That's pretty cool. All right, let's see. So Kid Rock speaks out. So if you guys don't know this, the other day, a military helicopter flew up outside of Kid Rock's house, outside the back, and they were just watching him and stuff. And so they got suspended. And then right away, because Kid Rock posted the video. And so now they got suspended. So then Pete Hegseth looked into it and got these guys unsuspended. So let's watch this.
On Saturday, just kind of walk me through what you saw.
Man, I was sitting right there just having like kind of Saturday morning beer, and I seen a chopper start coming. I was like, man, it looks like military, and it's not the first time they've flown over my house. They're out of Fort Campbell, which I was there last Thanksgiving with J.D. Vance, and I've talked to some of these pilots, and I've told them, I'm like, you guys see me waving when you come by the house? I'm like, you guys are always welcome to cruise by my house, like anytime. So they just had me coming this way, so I walked over here, and I'm like, yeah, hell yeah. And then they circled back around and came out right over here. And so I just, gave them a salute. and, kind of a thank you. And man, it was a level of respect that I got that no award or record sales could ever do. And at the end of the day, if it makes their day a little brighter, for their service to our country, protecting us, right. I think that's a great thing, especially when I saw yesterday that there was, the No Kings thing going down and there was people flipping them off. I'm like, I don't care what your politics are, but come on, man, if you're flipping our military off, I'm the king of the bird. Like, if you're flipping our military off, you're on the wrong side of things, man.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
At the end of the day, I thought it was harmless. I thought it was really cool. I was very appreciative of them coming by, and I hope they got a good smile and made their day a little bit brighter too.
The military is looking into this to see, if they did this.
Play cameraman, come on.
Their own pleasure, I guess. What do you have to say to that?
I think they're going to be all right. My buddy's commander-in-chief. I mean, what are they looking into? They stopped for, I don't know, seconds, a minute. Maybe they were here 3-4 minutes, just say what's up, went on. And I've told them before, up before at Campbell, like I said, when I was there with J.D. Vance back at our vice president back in Thanksgiving, I talked to some of them. I said, yeah, because I see them when they fly the Chinooks. And they go to Nissan Stadium for the football games. They come right over. And if I'm here, I usually make it a point, come out and give them a what's up. So it's really not that new, but it was pretty cool. They stopped right there and kind of, I wasn't expecting any of that, but I thought it was really neat.
The people who on social media there was some backlash towards this, what's your message to them?
TDS syndrome. TDS syndrome, which is no new news here. It's like, we know the half of the country that's going to love it and say that's really cool, that's great for the military. Right. And the other half, it's going to go, they're wasting taxpayers' money, this, that, and the other. And I might remind you, not to sit here and brag about it, but I've done a lot of service, much in the military, been every war country.
Their wireless mic is messing up.
Multiple times, Christmas is Thanksgiving. And I think a lot of these guys and girls know that I've done a lot for them because I appreciate what they do for us. So I think they know this is a pretty friendly spot if they want to come by and give a wave when they go by.
Are they going to show it?
Really? Anything else you want to say that I didn't ask you?
Well, I think they kind of covered it.
Here, let's look it up.
To the people who serve our country, what do you want them to know? I know you covered that, but I'll hear you say it again.
The people that serve our country, I mean, same thing I said for years. Thank you for your service and keep on kid rocking in the free world.
Keep on kid rocking in the free world. Helicopter music. I don't want the music part, but let's go. Top news. We'll show it right here. Here it is. Hold on. For those of you that haven't seen it. Mosquito. I gave him a salute. That's awesome. I would love that. I know Andy would love that too. If they're already in the area and they stop to do that real quick, I don't see what's wrong with that. Yeah, they're wasting a little bit of fuel, right? But they're out. He's practicing his practicing, right? I wouldn't be that mad at it. All right, this is just insane. Senate Leader John Thune announces senators are starting reconciliation to fully fund ICE and Border Patrol by June 1st, as requested by President Trump. Thune says that ICE will be insulated from future Democrat defunding attempts. The rest of the Department of Homeland Security will be done with appropriations, which can be approved by unanimous consent. Why you screwed it all up, bro? The SAVE Act is gone. And I used AI to write this for me, okay? So it says, good on paper, Thune, but we heard the song before. President Trump demanded full border security. That means funding ICE and Border Patrol and passing the Save America Act to stop non-citizens from voting in our elections. Without the SAVE Act, this is just half a win. Illegals will keep coming, and future Dems will just defund it anyway. MAGA Patriots, is Thune finally stepping up? Or is it? So I've been doing this, right? I've been using X to post this stuff. Andy says it's not really a waste of money. It's still proficiency training. You have to be able to hold a position close to the ground like that. I agree, Andy. 100% I agree, buddy. You and I are on the same page of this. Okay, so I have two left. One of these is going to be the kid. One of these should be the kid. Let's paste it. Probably the second one. Nope, it's the first one. Okay, so this kid just dropped a straight fire on CNN. Watch this. We're probably going to play it twice, by the way. This kid is awesome.
Why do you want to be here? Why do you love space? Why do you love being a part of history?
We're going back to the frickin' moon, that's why.
Oh, I thought he said fucking. He said frickin', okay.
Why do you want to be here? Why do you love space? Why do you love being a part of history?
We're going back to the frickin' moon, that's why.
Oh, he did say frickin', okay. I thought he said fucking. Maybe I just was hoping he said fucking. All right, here's a... Andy says he did say fucking. Okay, hold on. Let's see if we... Well, let me play this real quick from President Trump. And then we'll look
Amazing, right? I'm a king.
Hold on. Sometimes it does this on X. There we go.
They call me king now. Do you believe it? No king. I'm such a king, I can't get a ballroom approved. It's pretty amazing, right? I'm a king. If I was a king, we'd be doing a lot more. I'm doing a lot, but I could be doing a lot more if I was a king.
That's what I thought too, Andy. I saw it in a couple of different places. Okay, NASA kid. Let's look it up. I think you're right. I heard a couple different places. Blizzard TikTok, I think, is where I saw it first.
Being a part of history.
We're going back to the frickin' moon, that's why.
It sounds like he said fucking, doesn't it?
Why do you want to be here? Why do you love space? Why do you love being a part of history?
We're going back to the frickin' moon, that's
Oh,
why.
he did say it. He did say it.
Why do you want to be here? Why do you love space? Why do you love being a part of history?
We're going back to the frickin' moon, that's why.
He did say it. Okay. So he did say it. So then, a NASA kid dubbed. Let's put in dubbed, because they probably dubbed over it then, right? Let's see if anybody put that. CNN tries to get a wholesome emotional support. One boy hits him with zero filter. We're going back to the freaking moon. See, it got changed.
Why do you want to be here? Why do you love space? Why do you love being a part of history?
We're going back to the frickin' moon, that's why.
See, if that one says frickin'.
Why do you love space? Why do you love being...
See, that one says frickin' too.
Why do you love space? Why do you love being a part of history?
We're going back to the frickin' moon, that's...
See, it keeps saying frickin' there. I don't know. One of them is dubbed. Unless they said, "Hey, can you do that again? Can you do that again?" Okay, let's go here real quick. Cause we're all done with the new stuff that I had. Maybe it's because of the accent. It's possible. Hold on, let me go to playlist. Let's watch some. I've been doing a lot of stuff on Bob Lazar lately. Let's watch a quick Bob Lazar video.
2, 1, boom.
Not this one, because
we're live. First of all,
2 hours. It's like 2 hours long. But let me see. Where's one of the shorter ones? Quantum computers. James Webb. That's too long. Too long. Bob Lazar story. Where's all the other stuff? Because Andy's here, and Andy will get this. Bob Lazar. Let's watch a shorter one. We watched this video yesterday. Let's watch. Bob Lazar details UFO experiences on the Joe Rogan podcast. Here we go. Let's watch this one right here. Because I'm starting to get into conspiracy stuff again.
The Joe Rogan experience.
How long were you there?
I'd say about 6 months or so.
And what progress was made while you were there?
Well, we came up with a bunch of reasonably good ideas about how the reactor worked. And one of them was the square base of it was
still alive,
essentially like a cyclotron, which is a small particle accelerator, a circular one. Particle accelerators, linear particle accelerators are just a, long tube essentially, and they accelerate particles with high voltage and, radio frequencies till they reach high speeds. But a cyclotron does that in a small circular area. And there's this very heavy element fuel, element 115, something that wasn't on our periodic charts at the time.
But it is now.
It is now, yeah.
When did it become on the periodic table now?
Oh, you don't know that much about them?
now?
I don't remember. Do you remember when they
2004, Darmstadt, Germany, I think is where they first fabricated.
This is actually part of the whole long podcast that I'm going to watch pretty soon. But hold on. Let's go back here then. I'll show you a different one. I'll show you one that's like a combination so you can learn about who this guy is, which I think is a lot better anyways. So let's go back here. It's Joe Rogan podcast as well.
1, boom. And we're live. First of all, cheers, gentlemen. Let's have a little toast. Relax. Bob, thank you very much for doing it. When you go over the Bob Lazar story, like what are you, how much of you cries bullshit? How much of you's like, I'm
more on the side. I think he's the most credible whistleblower because he
didn't profit from it.
And they prosecuted him for running a prostitution ring,
Which maybe he was.
Which I think he was. He pled down to pandering, but
they also raided him during the Jeremy Corbell documentary. While they're filming the documentary, the FBI raided his facility.
Mm-hmm.
And they said they were looking for something.
Mm-hmm.
And supposedly he has a version or a sample of stable element 115.
What?
That's supposedly.
So for those of you that don't know, element 115 is an element that we don't have on Earth. They just barely were, they've known, they've thought about it and stuff, but just within the recent, 20 to 30 years, if that, they have found a way to make it at the CERN Hydrogen Collider, right? But the problem is, as soon as they make it, it's pretty much gone in like nanoseconds or milliseconds. I'm not sure which one. But what they're saying is, and it's not stable. They're saying that's why it goes away so fast. But he's saying that this element is what powers these UFOs, and it's possible to make a stable version on another planet, possibly. So that's what he's talking about here with element 115.
Yeah, and that's supposedly what they were looking for.
Well, of course.
Supposedly he had gotten that from the lab.
There you go, Andy.
And when he was at S4, and that he had managed to smuggle out a stable chunk of this element 115. And there was a video that George Knapp had from back in the 80s where Lazar was demonstrating how this stuff bends light.
Exactly.
And, what it does. Like
Andy's got this, he says, and each successful element they created as they go further into the 100s is less stable. And what they're trying to say is, but that's Earth. Things on Earth are different than things on other planets somewhere else, possibly. We don't know for sure. But anyways, I digress.
Effects.
I'll play this. I'll stop.
How soon after that raid was 115 is now called Moscovium? How soon after that raid was 115 synthesized? I think it was synthesized in Russia.
Synthesized by a particle collider. And so the when they got it is a very temporary, quickly
94?
dissolving form, but they proved its existence.
Mm-hmm.
And supposedly what Lazar is saying, wherever these beings are from, they obviously have a completely different environment and they have a stable version of this element.
Yep.
And this element is crucial to this gravity propulsion system.
Yes.
That it's a part of this reactor, it gets bombarded with radiation, produces this gravity field, allows you to just slingshot through the universe.
I don't know, are they working to stabilize it? I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, man.
Why would they raid Bob Lazar?
That's that spectrum of believability again.
Mm-hmm. That's the other thing that Bob said that I thought was really fascinating was that there was some documentation that they were showing him that claimed that we are the product of accelerated evolution.
He was shown a lot of shit, and he doesn't like talking about it because he doesn't know if it's just total fucking nonsense.
Right.
He is sure that they showed him shit just to see if he'd fucking say crazy shit.
Right, to see if he'd talk.
All he cares about is what he saw, what he knows is real. But if you do just talk with him privately, they did show him, a photograph of an autopsy of a being with a singular organ. They told him that, the human genome had been altered, just all sorts of crazy shit. And he just has no idea if it's true.
Okay, so real quick, then what we're going to do is I'm going to show you this. It's a quick, like a 5-minute video of Bob Lazar explaining this.
They finally did synthesize element 115 that had the properties that I stated. But it wasn't stable. Yeah, it wasn't stable. Now, each element has isotopes. For instance, let's talk about hydrogen.
And I learned a lot just from this 5-minute video.
And we're all familiar with hydrogen. Hydrogen has 3 isotopes. They're all hydrogen. There's hydrogen, protium, be the technical name, deuterium and tritium. Well, tritium is a radioactive hydrogen. Deuterium is another stable isotope of hydrogen, and regular protium, ordinary hydrogen, is the hydrogen we all know. They're all hydrogen. They have different amounts of neutrons in them. They all have 1 proton, which makes them hydrogen. Now, this is true for all elements. You can have the amount of protons in them determines what element it is. So element 115 has 115 protons in it. It's element 115. Now, depending on the number of neutrons it has, it will still be element 115, but it can be any number of isotopes of it. It's 115 undoubtedly has, many isotopes of it. We've synthesized 115. We made 1 isotope. We have a radioactive one. Now they just need to continue on working with it. I mean, they made just a few atoms, but we'll see what other isotopes they come up with. One of them or more is going to be stable, and it will have the exact properties that I said.
Or could we make it? Or does it have to be natural? As you speculated about that.
Well,
before.
It's natural. It'd be difficult to find it. I do not think you can make that synthetically. It's just, it takes too much time. I mean, to make, an ounce of it or even a gram would take a tremendous amount of time because not all the interactions are successful. I mean, you can bang particles together all day long and one may get stuck and then you've got an atom. And how do you contain, this single atom?
So how do we George Knapp. George Knapp is crazy too.
It had to either be synthesized by the extraterrestrials.
I didn't know you knew about this stuff, Gavin. That's awesome.
Or, maybe there was a location where they came from where, look, this was a naturally occurring material. We know that all the material in the universe, essentially all the atoms of all elements, came from hydrogen. I mean, all you really need is just atoms of hydrogen.
I'll have to tell you about it later.
Once they start collecting together large quantities of them, gravity just begins to push them together. Under their own weight. As long as you have enough hydrogen, that'll continue until they finally crush down and ignite and produce a fusion reaction. And that starts a star. Once the star is burning, it begins to produce helium by fusing. So now you have another new element. Well, this continues on until the star burns out, begins to collapse. And when, large enough stars finally do, they crush down, produce supernovas, and then produce a whole host of every element on the periodic chart, far beyond what the numbers we're used to, beyond 115. And, maybe some of these, this is where all the gold, all the uranium, every element you have ever come from, including every cell in your body, has come from supernovas. That's the factory that makes elements. So if there was a location somewhere else that had bigger stars, multiple stars, that burped out more heavy elements than our local system did. Maybe this is common, and you can find stable 115 like we mined for gold on our planets or uranium. It just depends. If they were lucky enough to have exotic materials like that,
you definitely know how to
easier
fuck
to
up a
believe
state.
than somebody built a machine to manufacture such a difficult material.
So it's sort of like a Rorschach test. Aha, they made 115. He was right. It really does exist. Somebody who doesn't want to believe it says, 115 doesn't behave anything like Bob Lazar said. It's sitting around in a pile of 500 pounds or something, right? I mean, it's sort of like that.
What is the...
Right. You have to, you just have to start accumulating, whether you believe it or not, and I personally, again, I prefer you don't believe it. Just begin accumulating the facts that you can verify. And really be careful.
And he says stars go through a lot of evolutionary cycles as they fuse heavier elements, but it's when they get to iron, they don't get excess energy from fusion anymore. And that's part of how most stars dies. You think it's iron anyways. Interesting, Andy. Okay, let's get back to we're going to finish this documentary then.
God, the whole thing is it's so wild. I just wish, if Bob's lying, my God, what a great liar. Yeah. He's amazing at it.
Right.
And he's been telling the same lie for 30 plus years. And then there's elements of it that, how would he know that? Like, how would he know about element 115? I mean, Element 115, when he was talking about it, was theoretical.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he got lucky. He's the luckiest guy I know. He always chooses shit that ends up being fucking right.
I know.
Gravity, waves, and how these crap look, man.
Explain the Element 115 to people, because people who don't know what we're talking about, that haven't seen the documentary or haven't seen the podcast we did together.
So the way Bob understood it was that he was working on power and propulsion, right? So of one of these, we call them flying saucers, fucking alien vehicle.
That looked like this one.
Exactly.
Right here, from Design by Perry.
Yeah.
The one sitting on the desk.
Even like aerospace people are like, well, if it's the most ingenious thing, is the way he described it, powered. People are impressed by it. I'm like, maybe that's just what he saw. But anyway, so the 115 was the power source, he said. And basically, you put it in and it releases antimatter and creates a gravity propulsion, a gravitational field. And then you had three directional emitters. Look, that's how they think these things operate. Traveling faster than the speed of sound with no sonic boom. All transmedium, all domain. These things seem to defy typical.
So I'm guessing that's why. What's up, Val? How you doing over there in YouTube land? Hey, Val, if you get a chance, could you come over to Rumble sometime this week and just do a live chat for me? Because I got to get so many a month. I'd appreciate it. But so what I think he's saying is why there's no sonic boom is because it's creating its own gravity around itself, and that's why it's not going to create a sonic boom. I think that's. I'm not a scientist by any means, but...
Propulsion. It's not outside of the realm of what we understand. It's outside of the realm of what we can replicate now. One day we might catch up.
And this Element 115 that Bob talked about powering this spaceship was only theoretical back in the late 1980s when he first started discussing it.
Right. We hadn't synthesized it yet.
Right. Well, it wasn't synthesizing. It was created by a particle accelerator, right?
Exactly.
It was detected. Because it was,
But we smashed...
Right.
So we kind of synthesized in that we smashed particles together, and then we're like, oh, for like a second, there it was.
Yeah, I think it's a fraction of a second.
Yeah, and Bob always said that if he's right, if it was 115, that's how he understood it to be.
Mm-hmm.
If he's right, then we will someday, be able to make a nominal amount of it that will be stable. That's what he says.
Until something actually happens, and my thought is when something actually happens, how will people handle it? UFO whistleblower could get immunity under new amendment. So this is what you were talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, the thing is I know some of the people doing this, and they're like, they want some nominations, man. Who should talk to them? Well, you got your own fucking logo there.
There you go, buddy.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah, these are Foundation Cigar JRE cigars. They're good. Shout out to my friend Nick from Foundation Cigars, too. Hooked me up with that cabinet. Got a full humidor up in this bitch now.
Wow. Thank you.
I've only smoked a cigar once.
So this Element 115.
Yeah.
This is proven by a particle accelerator. And Bob Lazar's claim was that they had a stable amount of this Element 115 that had come from this other place. And did they know where this other place was, where this Element 115 supposedly had come from? Another planet?
Yeah, I mean, again, this is what he was told, so he's kind of allergic to, but, he said that the documents said Zeta Reticuli, I guess a binary star system or something. That's what were in the documents. Now, if that's true or not, look, remember, he thought it was the U.S. He thought this vehicle was ours.
Right.
And then until he walked inside of it. That's his whole thing. It blew him away. It's hard to buy what someone like Bob is telling you if you don't know the person.
Right, Andy?
You see people in their lives, man.
Imagine being him and that actually happening to you, and then you having to go back to reality.
Right.
And tell people or not tell people, just live your life and have the burden of this information, the burden of this thought. Just turn upside down the other way. There you go. Flip the top.
You got to flip the top.
There you go, and then pull down. I mean, the burden of that kind of information, when even discussing it, you seem like such a psycho,
Yeah.
Most people almost instantaneously, other than a real journalist like George Knapp, most people are going to think you're out of your fucking mind.
Yeah. They just dismiss you.
Yeah.
Why would you even do it? What would be your motivation What would you get out of that?
Well, his motivation was he was seriously worried that they were going to take him out.
Yeah.
Because he knew so much, and they had cut off of his... For folks who don't know the whole story, just give you a brief synopsis. What happened was Bob allegedly was working on back engineering these aircrafts, these vehicles, these spaceships, and in doing so, you have to have a very high level of clearance. Well, with that high level of clearance comes complete government surveillance. So they monitor your phone calls, monitor everything. Turns out Bob's wife was having an affair. So they don't tell Bob that his wife's having an affair, but they cut off his job. They're like, you did too much of a potential to be emotionally unstable. We can't have you working on these top secret, super sensitive things.
Yeah, it's logical.
While your life is probably going to fall apart.
Find out some bad shit. Yeah.
So he doesn't know this. And so they don't give him any information. So he freaks out. And so he starts telling his friends. And he's like, come with me. I'll show you the launch. I'm not lying.
People forget that.
Yes.
He went out and he showed people a craft that didn't look like any normal craft come up right when he said it would.
Yeah.
Over a base that wasn't even known then really well. And a sub-base, an area, not Area 51 proper. He's the luckiest motherfucker in the world. He did it 3 weekends in a row till he got caught.
Right.
So it's just like, man, every time you try to call bullshit on him, I tried so hard on so many things, motherfucker. People think I'm just some fucking believer. I'm not, bro.
The only thing that people have ever called bullshit on him is that he said he might have seen an actual alien. But he said he was walking down a hallway and looked through one of those little tiny windows that's in a door, those little tiny, like 12-inch square windows. And he peered in it quickly as he was walking by, and it seemed like there was a small thing that was sitting on a chair, and there's people standing over it. But he doesn't know if it was a doll. He doesn't know if it was... And so in his mind, he's like, fuck, did I see an alien? Like, what the fuck? But he can't go back. It's not... Like, everything's... If you work on top secret stuff, apparently, everything's very compartmentalized. Like, the people that work on metallurgy don't have access to the people that work on propulsion, that don't have access to the people that... If there is a biological entity, that they examine it.
Which frustrated the fuck out of him, right?
Because that's not how you do science.
It's not how you do science.
Right. You have
and
to collaborate.
He says, I wasn't the most qualified person to be there. Maybe they hired me because they could easily dismiss me. He's like, why didn't we have better people on this? People that were more... So he was really frustrated. And he said to me, like, he thought it was a crime against the scientific community. If they have this stuff, like he says it was a crime. And, he talks about that thing through the window. He's so funny about it. I sat him down for long, many sessions, really trying to get it out of him.
Yeah.
He goes, Jeremy, I think they were just obsessed with measurements. I go, what do you mean? And he's like, well, look, there was something in a chair, but it was small. Maybe they were trying to just measure it to see if it would fit in a craft. So that's how he kind of gets around, like, did he see something or not? He doesn't know.
Like, it could have been a doll that they constructed that was roughly the same height as these things were.
He just doesn't want to go there, right?
And so these creatures that were in this vehicle, if there were creatures in this vehicle...
There were 3 seats.
Yeah, and he estimated they had to be how big?
Your typical, like, what you think of as like a little gray alien, man. 3-4 feet.
Right.
He said they looked like they were made for children.
The seats.
Yeah. And so, look, and every time I try to be like, dismiss Bob myself, there's something that creeps in my mind. I'm like, hold on.
So Andy says, you don't just get a top secret clearance, you can see whatever. Programs will get classified within that SCI programs, and you only get the minimum access possible to work on your little part of it. Yeah, so that's why they can't give trade secrets away or something, right?
Like, I find out that he was telling the truth. Like, recently, I had it verified that, he did work at Area 51. Like, I know I had a guy, I found the guy after 30 years that he wouldn't talk with George, the guy that did his security clearance.
Mm-hmm.
I found him. I talked to him multiple times about this, and he did clearance for Bob for the test site. But even more recently, from people that have position to access that information, it was confirmed. I just want you to know, he worked out there. Now, I have people that were out there that saw him on a Janet flight. Bob worked out there.
And a Janet flight is those unmarked planes that would leave from the Vegas airport and head into Area 51.
That's right. And so here's the deal, man. Like, it's the cumulative evidence about Bob that I, as a friend of his, I have no reason to doubt him. And all the evidence tells me that it happened exactly like he said. And he's explaining it to the best of his ability. And to his own detriment, actually, before coming on your show, man, he's probably the most hated dude. For some reason, people go crazy about him. They either love him or hate him.
Well, I think your documentary turned a lot of people's opinions about him as well.
Thank you, brother.
But then having him on, I mean, some people still call bullshit. They think like his migraines were convenient.
Oh, come on. You saw
But he was having them. He was having them in the green room before we started going on. He was very nervous about doing it.
Of course, man. He'd been beat up his whole life about this shit. Also, I gave him McDonald's before, and I think his wife was super pissed at me, and I was like, you give him a salad. No, and he gets really, like, crushing migraines, but, people that are going to call bullshit on that, we're talking about fucking UFOs. If you're going to call bullshit on a migraine, what are you even listening for?
I didn't feel like it was bullshit.
It wasn't
I felt like the whole thing was uncomfortable for him, for sure.
Of course,
but it didn't seem like he was lying. Basically. But look, some people that are really good at liars. But usually, when you're really good at lying, you lie about a lot of stuff.
Yeah, that's the thing. There's a consistency in people's lives, and the deeper I got in, chilling with his mom, chilling with his family, chilling with friends that have known him forever, new friends, every single person. And he doesn't talk about UFOs, by the way, like all that. So he never talks about that. Just normal life situations.
Right.
The one thing they all said to me, Bob wouldn't waste his fucking time with making up a story, and he'd probably make up a better one. That in the rest, he would. And Bob always says it. He goes, "Man, I wish I could fill the voids for people." He goes, "It's a horrible fucking story, but it happens to be what happened."
Right.
If I was making one up, he goes, "Man, I got some other cool ideas." Like, you know what I mean?
Right. Of course. And also, it's like if you're a liar, you generally lie a lot. Like liars don't just lie one time in their life, and then you catch them. They're inconsistent. Like he was lying long before there was an internet. He was telling the story long before there was an internet. So if he was lying, like in the late 80s, like there would be inconsistencies in his story. Like he would forget how he said it. He would fuck something up or...
Dude, for the research I did for the documentary, like I told him, you got to give me full access to your life, dude. Like boxes, whatever. Don't open them. Let me get all your tapes, everything. Right. I was so shocked. Like people, if they're trying to hide something, they're real careful around you. Just that was not my experience. But here's my other thing: is like, do we have to believe any one single person to understand that this is this is a real phenomenon?
No, but he's one of the more interesting cases because if he's telling the truth, that means that the government has been working on these things for decades and decades, and that they have they've gotten themselves in this pickle where they can't publicly disclose what they know and what they have access to because they've had all these people work on these things secretly, and they sort of have a long history of hiding information.
Right.
You were talking about John Lear.
Very long
and John
history.
Lear's connection to Bob Lazar and the possibility that Lear was spreading disinformation.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I've, by the way, since making that video, I've become more positive on Lazar, just insofar as I think he was at S4 Area 51. And there's going to be a great documentary coming out by my buddy Luigi on this called Project Gravatar. And I think there's going to be a lot of corroborating evidence that he was at least there. And a lot in his story checks. But I think you have to view, and I even say that in this video, that I think a lot of this story could be true. You can't, I think, view the Bob Lazar story. You can't just take it at face value because John Lear and he were friends. John Lear is this babbling UFO nut. He's obsessed with UFOs. He's writing weird, like, disinfo-y style stuff with Bill Cooper, Behold the Pale Horse guy.
Which is a wild book.
Yeah. And so he's crazy.
He talks about, doesn't he talk about bases on the moon?
He talks about bases on the moon. Lear also talked about a soul catcher that like controlled our souls on the moon.
Oh boy.
And so Lear was like flooding the zone with all sorts of weird shit. Lear comes from an interesting family.
Right.
His father is Bill Lear, who's the autopilot wizard. He created the first business, basically the first private jet, the Lear jet, in the 50s and 60s, and was an associate of a guy I hope we talk about named Thomas Townsend Brown.
Yeah.
And so I think, Lear was engaging in all sorts of bullshit. Was he a useful idiot or was he a sophisticated agent provocateur? I'm totally open to him having been a useful idiot. In fact, there is a video of him saying, I was told, I was given all the Bob Lazar files or whatever, and I was told about, you know, to actually, like, he said a guy named Admiral McClellan knew that I ran my mouth. I even have this video actually on the doc that I sent you, Jamie. He says, knew that I ran my mouth. So that's why we basically got Bob a job or whatever. And we knew that part of this stuff would leak. And it was like this limited hangout strategy on behalf of this guy named Admiral McClellan or whatever. And he was this useful idiot to sort of get it out. And I think
for what purpose?
Recruiting. You give people high level. Yeah.
And the MJ personnel,
So you switch to another person.
the original 12 have all passed away. So they get different people into these positions of MJ 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and taken over. It's degraded, so it's almost political now instead of like it was when Truman originally formed the MJ-12. It turns out that MJ-1, the head of MJ-12, is a guy named Admiral Mike McClellan. He wanted to get some of the information out because he didn't want to. He thought that some of this information should be out in the public. We don't need to keep all this secrecy. So he decided trying to figure out a way to get it to the public. So he knew that I was a blabbermouth and I would tell anything I knew. They investigated Bob Lazar and they knew that he was a genius, but that he had a background such that they could instantly discredit him. They removed all his records from MIT, from Caltech, so he couldn't prove anything. He'd go back to Caltech, and no, I don't see any records here. And, well, I was here. Well, no, you weren't. And he also, up in Reno at one time, he ran a cat house there. I forget what the name of the honeysuckle ranch it was. So they chose him because not only could he probably help them because he was so smart, and as a matter of fact, he's the one that named Ununpennium 115. He's the one that told them what that was, and they didn't know when he went there. They didn't know what it was. He was the one that told them that's element 115, and then told them why and how he'd figured it out. But they decided to pick on Bob to go up there to work at S4 because they knew that Bob would tell me instantly, and that I would blab the whole thing. And that was their modus operandi, was to get the information out and gauge what it did to the public, how they accepted it, and then pull back and say, oh, no, it was all a mistake. Bob Lazar is a fraud. He never worked here. He doesn't have any credentials like that. And they could back away and get out of it. So that was what Mike McClellan came up with.
Isn't that crazy?
Weird.
And to me,
kind of makes sense a little bit, though.
It does, and that doesn't make Bob Lazar still not the most interesting story in the world. Like he's not saying it didn't happen, right? He's just saying that this happened as part of this limited hangout strategy where they knew that they could delete the records at MIT. They knew that they could stigmatize him because of the brothel. They knew that he was this not traditionally trained engineer who just happened to strap a ramjet on the back of a Honda or whatever and meet Edward Teller serendipitously. They knew that they had plausible deniability on all of that stuff. There's a great line in the Oppenheimer movie where Leslie Groves, played by Matt Damon, says, I didn't hire Oppenheimer in spite of his communist sympathies. I hired him because of them. So you have a top secret program. You want compromise on people. You want to be able to blackmail them. And so
kind of makes sense, right?
I think, that should be taken at face value, in my opinion. And the reason that the story itself can't be taken at face value and needs to be seen through that lens is Lear and Bob Lazar were friends before Bob Lazar got a job at Area 51, S4. And so if you have a top secret program, you're going to do a basic background check. And Lear is going to come up as a guy with a UFO blog, right? And then the CIA is all over the UFO program, right? And he was flying CIA cargo jets. And he says that he disaffiliated in 83. That's bullshit. George Knapp and Jeremy Corbell have talked about how that's BS. And actually disaffiliated much later into the mid-'80s or whatever. Why would you continue to pay a guy who is leaking your crown jewel secret?
Hey guys, Adam Savage here, and it is close.
All right, guys. That's it for tonight. I got to go make 2 other stuff tonight. And in fact, I got my old laptop back from the FBI, and I finally got the new battery in. So I'm going to take it apart, put in a new battery, which I'm kind of wary about doing, but we're going to do it. So thank you all for watching. Andy is still here, I'm guessing. We still have Gavin Newsom, a good buddy of ours. Val is over in YouTube land. I haven't seen anybody else chatting. So for those of you that are still here, good night, y'all. Have a good night. Don't work too hard. Oh, we got to raid somebody. That's right. We got to raid. Let's see who. Let's go and look and see who we can raid. We got to raid somebody. I got to remember to start raiding somebody every single night. So let's go to my feed. Let's see who we want to raid. Empty Pockets Podcast. Dome. Oh, we'll raid Dome After Dark. They're always fun to raid. We'll raid these guys right here. Copy. So we're gonna raid them. Here we go for the raid, guys. Thank y'all for watching us, guys. Good night, Andy. What's up, guys? Yeah, I did that yesterday or the day before. All right, YouTube and everybody. Have a good night.